Oh no, fuck.
Chat, can you hear me? Chat, can you hear me?
Oh no.
Chat, what's up?
Oh no. Ooh, ooh,
Hey, chat.
uh,
We're waiting on
oof.
we got an AV and a Mia
Avian and Mia
in here
in transit,
eventually in
en
transit
route,
en
en
route.
route, being controlled into this plane soon.
Yes,
Plane of
being
existence.
apparated. I don't know. Isn't wait? That's Harry Potter. Fuck.
What the fuck
Uh,
is apparated?
What's that? Did you call it a book? It's a video
No, I
game
said what the fuck
series.
is apparated?
Apparated is like a peer, but it's British. So it's
I only went to one uh Harry Potter movie, and it was like in a theater that had couches, and I just
Ooh.
went with this cute dude that was seeing a friend of mine, and I just like fell asleep on him the entire movie, and it was well spent. It was a very, very good experience. Thumbs up. I didn't see any of the movie, but it was a great time.
Which one was it? Also,
Who
Toxma, to answer your
cares?
question, not very far. We lifted the lockdown, and now we are looking for the security guy who can get us HRAs. So we've freed some people, and basically we've cleared out we've gone to two of the major levels of the game, but like that's it. We only still have basic powers. Does anyone need a rundown of what this game is about? It's an SCP game basically, but unofficially. My Harry Potter movie memory is that I paid extra money in high school to go see the one that the like one of the latter ones that was in 3D. And there was maybe one scene that was in 3D, and I actually did not even notice that it was in 3D until I took
That's
my
so
glasses off
funny.
and like noticed like, oh, Harry looks all fucked up. Oh, Amy's here.
Hello.
We're talking about our Harry Potter movie experiences.
Mine's still the best. But
Oh,
Avi's very quiet. Silent
um,
Avi.
AV is stunned into silence.
Yeah, the Avi's Harry Potter experience was so shocking and jarring that he
Uh,
had to stop for a moment.
Before I start the game, how does my audio sound? Because I had my microphone unplugged earlier, and Streamlabs was pulling from my shitty $20 webcam from 2009.
Oh, that happens and it's the worst.
And I think I got it to not do it, but sometimes it'll just decide, I tricked you. I went back to the really bad audio instead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the worst.
Game audio is a little loud. I can adjust that. Volume mixer. Boop. I'll bring that down a little bit. There we go. Okay. Hey, all right. Tony, say something.
Hello.
Okay, perfect.
Hi.
Oh, there's Avi. Hi, Avi.
Hi.
Avi. Hello.
I also had my camera. That's why you couldn't hear my stunned, shocked, absolutely horrified response to your Harry Potter stories.
Harry Potter.
I was doing a little bit of adjustment because I was looking at our audio levels and be like, oh, it looks like Tony and Avi are a little loud. Move them a little bit down. The coolest thing about streaming
That's an opinion, okay?
is that I have to constantly hand crank all of my various audio levels because
That
they are
is
never
like
consistent.
that is like what streaming is. Like streaming is just fucking with audio
Yeah.
all the time. I don't
Yeah,
know
my
anyone
favorite thing.
Oop.
What?
My favorite thing about streaming is how it works perfectly the same way every single time.
Yeah, every time, consistently, always just fine. Perfectly fine. Yeah, I think the last time I streamed for a good, like, 10 minutes or something without my audio coming through, and people were like, we can't hear you. And I was like,
Hell yes. That's exactly what I want to hear.
yeah, I was that. Well, it's also great when people don't tell you for 10 minutes. I'm like, bro.
Well, it's funner.
'Cause
It's more
they
fun
could-
that way.
They could hear the bears, but they couldn't hear me.
They just assumed you were just quietly observing the bears.
Yeah, yeah, that they were just talking and I was just lighting up. It's true. Yeah. Sorry for clarification. The bears are my boyfriends who I stream with.
Cat, no joke. Streaming legitimately feels like a just a simulation of just. Especially because it's like, I know people who will do the like virtual audio cable stuff, and I tried doing that for like 2 streams, and I was immediately like, this has just added like 7 more levers that I have to play
Dual
with.
audio cable.
Yeah, like the digital audio cable stuff. And it is useful if you want like something set to a separate audio channel, so it's not just all capturing it as just desktop audio.
Oh.
But then it like magnifies the amount of things that you have to adjust each time.
Yeah,
so I
this
stopped
just
doing
sounds
it.
like it would be too hard.
Yeah, I use voice meter as well, but also my brain is tiny, and I do not understand it, and I need somebody to do it for me. That's where I'm at in life, just in general, honestly, about just things.
It seems like something that would be way easier to adjust if you were kind of using it for like one thing. Like my Piro, my boyfriend, like he streams, he was using it, but that's because he was basically just using it so that way he could mute his desktop audio and everything when he goes on like a break to have like audio playing. So that's just like one thing that it's hooked to. And even then, it just seemed like it caused more problems than it was worth.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah, having another thing you control means another thing that can go wrong.
Yeah, and my experience using it was that it would go wrong. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, my voice meter always crashes. But yes, I would love to have a boy that just does my audio stuff for me. That's what I want. That's how I solve problems in my life.
It's just
That's why
finding a boy to do them for
That's
you.
why I date like
It's
30
a-
guys.
It's a great strategy.
They're my staff, okay?
oh hell yeah! Another darling video.
An early hypothesis was that the mindscape of the astral plane is subjective. But that was fast proven wrong. It's an actual place, not a construct of the mind, even though it is with our minds that we enter and experience it. But then one could argue that that's the case with all reality. We've been able to record footage of the astral plane by monitoring the brain activity of those experiencing it. That is the only concrete material that has come out of the astral plane expeditions. Apart from one shocking exception. In the astral plane footage, we're always in the
I do
vicinity
like that
of
he's
the
like,
brain.
it starts to like, oh, like maybe we also
This,
experience something
not the
differently because
entire
it's in our
plane, is
minds.
what
And he's
would
like,
consider
no,
success.
it's real. it's like a thing that you can go to.
Native species, always in the distance, and yet contact was made. We don't have footage of this, a technical malfunction, but when one of our astronauts returned, a brain cloud, an astral fugue, had hitchhiked a ride in his head. It ruptured out, killing the subject in question. It's a relentless predator, pursuing thoughts, minds, lethal to those the entity feeds on. Proper
This little
containment
fucking
I
protocols
don't think
are
I
observed
saw
in the
this
DNA.
one because it's got this picture of Doctor.
Hi, Peter Shoes. Is that FMV? Yeah, Cat. So they a big gimmick of this game, or one of the many little bits of this game that I really like. Oh, yellow. No. Where the hell did he go? He might be trapped in Megan Joe. If he's, because he does that sometimes. They're looking for the dog. But yeah, a bit that they do with this game is that there are these little FMV segments, including Threshold Kids, which are FMV puppet shows.
Oh.
We'll see those guys later. We'll run into more of the Threshold Kids. Oh yeah, no, the Threshold Kids are just a whole riff on like Candle Cove and like that kind of like creepypasta stuff. Like very much like I call it like the YouTube horror aesthetic.
they'd keep that thing here.
How do they restock his little cage?
What is that thing?
It's an astral enemy.
The sound that I hear from you sounds like a clown horn honking. It's actually pretty disturbing.
On that way? Yeah, it seems like it's right that way. Oh. I having just played Quantum Break before this, I am realizing that like, wow, they really like their weird glitchy enemies that just kind of destroy things around them.
Yeah, this is very similar to the Time Freaks.
Except these things, I guess, hunt brain instead of time.
Oh, brain.
Yeah. Well, it said that it feeds on thoughts. Thankfully, it doesn't move very quickly.
I do love that they like created a big cardboard pyramid to make it feel.
Yeah, like it's like an actual zoo animal, and it's like, look, we got this. Look, it's just like where you came from. It's fine. You like it in here. You like can't even attack it. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're just.
Oh wait, why did I do that? No. Can it come into this hallway?
I forget how this whole thing works.
Wait, no, come back here. I need you to come in here. See, the trick with this guy is you lure him in there. Shit. Well, you try to lure him in there. And you stick him in there. Okay, can you come at me if I come in here?
Doesn't look like he's following you in. Is she too thick? It's true, Catcraft.
Oh. Alright, so I shut that door behind me. We're out here. No!
It is like a very disturbing creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just because it's like constantly strobing at you. Although that doesn't help.
I mean, that's a factor, I feel like.
It's a
just
pretty
very,
big factor.
It's just an uncomfortable experience. A very unnerving experience. It's like being chased around by an alarm.
Yeah, it's just a very, yeah, it's just a very horrible and abstract little experience creature.
What was the Bureau doing with that thing?
Oh, I guess when you click that one, all the doors shut. So that's how they solved the question of like, well, what if it just gets out of the... What if it just gets out
A
of the
little
hallway?
hallway, yeah. Didn't seem like it could necessarily contain it. But...
Like, it seemed like it wouldn't go into the hallway, but there's nothing about that hallway which said this thing can't pass.
Shit. We're so close. We need to hurry.
A Tangula cryptid. Alright. Oh, one of you fuckers. No, you die now. Oof. Okay. Well.
Oh.
All right. Well, I should have seen that one coming, I guess. That one was on me. I'll give the game.
You got me there. This particular... Oh, I do like the floaty guys a lot. I remember this particular room being a pretty big doozy. It's
Pretty
cool.
big what?
I really like it. It's a pretty big doozy.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a doozy of a room.
It's also one where every time you pass through it, like it almost always will spawn
Oh.
enemies, and you have to
Yeah.
pass through it like pretty regularly.
I do love the floaty, the floaty weird headgear things, and the guys in their floaty little chairs, and that they're these like concrete blocks that everyone like steps up to be on top of to get science experiments done on them.
Damage. What engine does this use? I feel like you would be a better answer
Proprietary,
to that.
right?
I know that when I launched it, I think it was like it's like use DivX 10 or DivX 11.
Yeah, which should be like. First, I definitely know exactly what DivX is, because I'm a video game designer.
Yeah.
It's
You make videos.
no, I'm not a nerd, but I'm pretty sure that this is just a proprietary. This is whatever Remedy's proprietary in-house engine is. I mean, like, people say, what engine does it use? Like, there's one answer to that question.
Yeah, and also like even if you
And that's
theoretically
not
use
true.
an engine, like most people customize things anyways, so
Yeah, like, people write...
starting point.
Yeah,
That's like having like a program on your phone or something and being like, oh yeah, what language is it written in?
Yeah, right,
When you
yeah.
said that, I straight up thought you meant like English.
or
Yeah.
yeah, true.
These guys are little fuckers. I hate these guys. Well, okay, I love them once I get the ability to turn enemies into my friends, because then they have to heal me as well, which is good. But until then, they are my enemy.
Oh yeah, the thing about Steve Jobs is true. Yeah, it was a very operable form of cancer, and he, like, Steve Jobs is one in a long line of like Silicon Valley like super aggro capitalists who also decided to go all in on like new agey meditative stuff like Twitter's Jack Dorsey or whatever his name is, and certain other billionaires who are maybe trying to find meaning in their lives.
Well, I think part of that actually comes from. I mean, it's complicated, but yeah.
I think Matthew Seichi wrote a little bit about this because he was talking. He wrote an article, I think it was on Medium, because he was talking about how that was an obsession of his own father, who was like a Buddhist monk, but also like Steve Jobs, like a super emotional person with very like the combination in some of like really high key emotional and an obsession with kind of like Zen and giving up worldly things as a kind of like wealthy billionaire is like a kind of common theme. It's a cool personal essay. Anyways, I think about that because I only know that fact about Steve Jobs because of Matthew explaining that to me in the context of this essay he wrote.
I knew someone who had worked at Apple, who when that was going on mentioned it and was just like, yeah, I think like we're trying to get him to like get on real meds, but he's the boss. You can't tell the boss what to do.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of Silicon Valley mentality is kind of really complex because of the fact that the way the entire like tech industry is kind of built around like people, like rich people getting lucky and then
Yeah.
like doing everything in their power to convince themselves, and also they wind up being convinced by others that it was not luck at all. None of it was
Right.
luck.
That it was.
Like that's like what the tech industry is like built on, is like pretending that it wasn't just luck, because it is just luck. Most of the tech industry is just luck. You just get the market first or whatever, right? With like a very obvious product. But like everyone in the tech industry has like, you know, so-called drank the Kool-Aid, etc. About like the concept that like, oh no, everyone's successful specifically only because they're very right about things. And it
Yeah.
does lead into like a side effect of that is that like a lot of these more successful ones are like more successful CEOs or whatever will just like start believing their own BS in like a very weird way. And just be like, well, I thought this might be a good idea and therefore it works, etc. And it's kind of a thing. I don't know. It's just a thing about the tech industry.
No,
I think
that's
it's
very
funny
true.
that Steve Jobs disrupted the being alive industry.
Oh my god. No, yeah, it's kind of an extension of humanity's tendency to ascribe meaning to random events, right? It's like,
Right.
oh, I'm successful, therefore that proves
Marshall,
that I'm a
can you hear me?
genius. Therefore,
Right,
there's special
right.
meaning to what I
Who is this?
do,
My
and then
name
a
is
looking
Jessie Faden.
and then that leads sometimes to a search for people who will affirm that sort of like sense of specialness or that sense of self, or whether it's other people or philosophies
More
or
of you?
something
Really?
to make you feel like it's not just randomness but like actually destiny or something like that. um you know, which is I think why people also tend to sometimes believe that they're like, oh, like, you know, like Elon Musk must be some sort of genius. How else would he have gotten that much money, you know?
Right, right. And
Like,
that's
it's physically impossible.
that's
because
kind of exactly what the entire fandom of the tech industry is built on.
right, that there's gotta be like, it means that there's some sort of meaning to this, that, you know, because that means that it's possible to replicate that yourself.
Yeah.
And that it's not just like luck and arbitrariness.
I too
Um,
can be born, you know, to a family that does emerald mining or whatever.
Wait, who does emerald mining?
Isn't that
I mean-
like Elon
Yeah,
Musk's
that's Elon
family?
Musk's money origin.
Oh yeah.
His money
yeah.
origin
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, I
His
can
fucking
replicate that.
literal villain origin story is that his parents were apartheid emerald miners.
Want to know how he got
And-
these scars, Batman? I tried to eat a diamond.
Yeah, so we can replicate that by also being born to apartheid emerald miners.
Yeah, I mean, if you're,
Oh, shit.
if you, there was a conversation I was having with some friends recently about someone whose name I won't say, but they're famous for making T-shirts, and Jay made fun of them in a tweet once.
I see it.
And
Another
one
power?
fact about that person
They're
is
just
that
standing there.
they're very rich, and a lot of
Mesmerized by
their business was fronted through their parents' money. So even people who seem like they've like made it organically often have like startup capital and resources to get to that point.
100.
Like
100.
almost all of the time.
Almost
if you're, like,
every time, yes.
almost every time if you're like,
If you are, you know, one of the people allowed in those spaces where people can be successful or have been successful,
Mhm.
and you are one of the only people there that wasn't like from money in some way,
Right.
it becomes very obvious.
I am a big fan, by the way, of just like you walk into the hypnosis room and it's just like the first thing you see is just a bunch of enemies frozen staring at an object. I mean, yeah, that's where the whole like industry plants to thing comes from. I remember there was like that bit a while back where a bunch of people were discovering how many like cool countercultural like musicians and artists were like, oh, the child of bankers, like, and it's just it's like, yeah, that's what makes the world go around.
Saint Vincent didn't Saint Vincent just come out with an album where she was talking about like her dad getting out of prison, and it's like, oh wow, I didn't know that about you, Saint Vincent. He was in jail for insider trading.
Yeah. I remember because it was like the first time I had seen and abided Saint Vincent slander on my timeline was because I was like, yeah, no, she kind of, she could get a little roasted for that. That's fair to roast her on.
Roast Saint Vincent for that? I mean, like, yeah, a little roasting of Saint Vincent over that.
As a treat.
Herder. I mean, I've had good experiences listening to Saint Vincent, but
I mean, I like a Grimes song or two. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, but Tony, you like problematic.
Not actual problematic.
I mean, like, what?
No, I guess that's true. I just like everything problematic. That's true. I forgot.
I like everything problematic. I'm not picky.
Well, exclusively though.
Hey, I got it.
Like, once Grimes gets on T, then we'll all be able to like her again.
Not Elon.
Yeah. Well, hey,
No,
you don't know that. You don't know that. Let's be honest here, Tony. You don't know that.
I don't know.
Please state your name.
Oh no! I just realized it's worse if he likes it.
And you are aware that exposure to the astral plane can result.
Elon Musk 3 minutes after Grimes comes out to him, asking, "Does this mean we can have anal now?"
Jesus.
Shut up, Jake.
Addy's got it. Like, he might just, it might just legitimately be like, he's just like in his head going like, yes,
Well,
yes, I'm queer now.
He would like go on Twitter with his like T-Slur pass card.
Oh my god, no. You can't have a teaser pass just because you're...
He's gonna go on Twitter and he's gonna be like, he's gonna call Grimes his trap wife, like as a pun on trad wife, and then he's gonna follow it up 2 hours later and be like, all right, I've had a few conversations with people.
Jay,
Let me correct the record. Reverse trap wife. Where's that tweet I made where it was like the fake the faked Elon Grimes locked accounts where they're complaining about Azalea?
Oh my god, that one was one of my favorite ever.
Yeah, the choices for the names of the accounts was just.
And by favorite, I mean I really hated it.
Yeah, I hated reading it.
I am now thinking though about your tweet about the soon-to-be former Miss J.K. Rowling.
People were bringing that one back. I was like, oh, what happened?
What is it?
I'm
gonna find it.
It's something where it's like, it was when J.K. Rowling was in the news for saying some shit about like tea ruining that blah blah blah, the usual dumb shit she says, and it was a joke about like me discreetly squeezing tea gel onto my hand as I go in for the handshake with the soon-to-be former Miss J.K. Rowling.
Yes, there you go. That's the whole text of it. God, I did hate that.
Wait, how do I seize?
I think though, if people are gonna write books like Irreparable Damage, that we get to make them some jokes like that.
Oh,
God, I
absolutely.
thought Jesse,
That was
I
like
thought
one of those
Jesse-
things where it's like I was like if some turf kid's mad at me, I'm just like I don't know what to tell you other than I thought it was funny.
That's a very. Can I post a tweet in the chat?
Yeah.
That's a good tweet. My response, literally, anytime anyone brings up J.K. Rowling in any space ever whatsoever,
Is to remind them that it
just-
is a safe space. Oh.
Yeah. What's a safe space?
A space that's
not-
safe. It's
not-
it's right in
not
the name.
safe.
Like, come on,
Not
Tony.
not if I'm in it, but
The impossibility of a safe space with Tony.
yeah. No, but the my reflexive response now is to just say, "Oh, she's not real," and then people are like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, J.K. Rowling's not real."
She's a
Like,
psyop.
you know, you don't have to worry about her.
you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
It's just
she's
an
fine.
MK Ultra.
Like, whether people are talking about her in the negative or not, I'll just be like, "Oh no, you don't gotta worry about that. She's not real." And then people are like, "What do you mean?"
Just be
I'm
like,
"No,
oh,
she's
like the
not real."
ContraPoints character?
Shut up.
A thing that I've always wanted to say, but I won't.
But
She's in
Well,
the ContraPoints
I-
universe.
here's the tweet. Here's a tweet that's too spicy for me.
okay.
And it's trans adolescence is realizing that you're the only one who can give yourself permission to be the person who you truly are. Trans adulthood is realizing you don't have to have an opinion about ContraPoint. You just don't have to. Like,
Really
people
don't
don't
have
realize that they don't even have to. That's
It's
the problem.
Well, you know what?
Listen, I'm
I
still
don't
trying to get
feel it.
people to realize step one, which is that like not that they don't have to have opinions, it's that they don't have to have good opinions. Because that's the real trap. Is everyone thinks they have to have good opinions to be trans.
Actually, I think that's the next. The next step is realizing you don't have to have opinions
Hey, okay.
at all.
Don't take this away from me because people feeling that they need to share their opinions on ContraPoints is like a very good measure for me not wanting to talk to somebody.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, let's be real here though. Like they're going to. Like there's nobody who has an opinion on ContraPoints that sucks who isn't gonna share it with you.
No, I know, but it's a very early marker to be like, oh, good, I could just write this person off now. Listen, the internet is full of people, and I need to know which ones to avoid.
All of them. Most
You
of
know
them,
what?
really.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. Why am I here?
Well, I'm not on the internet. I'm not online.
Oh, that's good.
This is actually all pre-recorded audio. I'm currently sitting in a bunker, like, I'm trying not to say Ted Kaczynski. Like, the guy who wrote, Warden? Walden. Did I ever tell you the story about the guy who,
I do like the idea that is equivalent to Ted Kaczynski.
I was like,
is
I
Thoreau.
can't say Ted Kaczynski. That's the obvious one. I gotta go with the Walden reference.
You gotta go. Okay, and it was Thoreau, but.
Did I ever tell you about the guy me, Lonnie, and James met in college who, let me back this up, who they invited over from R9K, but who wrote a manifesto about him dropping out of college and stuff to play through the Mega Man games again, but at the start of his manifesto to introduce people to the concept of dropping out of college to play Mega Man again, he linked off to the Wikipedia page on Walden.
Oh my god, that's a great move, honestly.
Yeah, I was like, damn, all right, I will
can't
read
hate
more
on
from the free encyclopedia.
Exactly like trans icon Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah.
The story about PragerU is so out of pocket. PragerU is wild. The fact that stuff like that is just real these days. Well,
What, like the YouTube page, PragerU?
yeah.
Or just like any,
Are you
like,
seeing this? Are you seeing this story in chat?
The shit about homelessness because it was an ad. I want an excuse to laugh at it. Hold on, let me get this guy. The left thinks spraying the feces of homeless people off sidewalks is racist. That's true. I believe that.
I believe that.
I think that's
Here,
the other. Here's like that's like the third tier of like you don't have to have an opinion online. You don't have to have a good opinion online. Is realizing that when people say an absolutely insane opinion that they've assigned to you that you know for a fact they don't think you actually believe, just go like I do believe that, or like I do that actually.
Yeah. No, Jay, thank you for joining me in that. It's a good thing. It's a good way to be.
I'm prigging you.
Or like, I'm pranking you. It's pretty fucking funny.
I'm a trad wife, so I'm only into F-preg, but I've seen a little bit of the Prager stuff, and it's only like a little bit, and it's like, you know, I don't know, ads or Twitter ads or something. Like it's popped up very randomly, but every time I've seen it, it's like the most unhinged thing. Like I'm always amazed that people can look at that for more than a few seconds and not be like, this is just not real, right?
I think so. I was looking over the X-ray one, the thing that gives me the ability to mind control. And
My brains were fried when I took over the object.
And a detail that I really like about it is that it does do the SCP thing of just like, there's just kind of superfluous details. Like, yeah, this was like just a random X-ray that belonged to a random patient. And for some reason, it on this X-ray box causes people to become under hypnotic spell of anyone who controls it. So now we have the ability to do hypnosis attacks on enemies. We can do the furry MP3s trick. I think we should be getting to.
That's such a complicated joke, but I appreciate it.
Is what we I think we should be getting to the luck lab soon. You know what that means? We can get the best suit.
I'm so excited.
Oh, okay.
Suit?
This is something where I'm actually going to see if it's here yet, but the first DLC that you got for this game, you do some guided imagery tapes with this guy who is voiced by Hideo Kojima.
They're so good.
Is it good or like good?
It's fun. It's cute. It's just for the fun of it. They just had Hideo Kojima do the voice work for it.
That's cute.
But like before they had that DLC even announced, you could find all these things about it, about like how they were trying to figure out if he was an altered event or whatever, or that wasn't DLC. I thought just base game. I could have sworn because I remember when I got the game originally, it was before that DLC had come out, but I had bought the DLC pass. So I remember finding these and being like, that's weird. Like, there's all this stuff about this doctor guy who has these weird hypnotic tapes, but there's nothing about him, like, anywhere else in the game. And then when I got installed the DLC, it was like, oh, here they are. But I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like you have to beat the game first for the DLC to become active or not. Because this is the Ultimate Edition, which I'm pretty sure includes all the DLC. Guess we'll find out. It looks like the answer is no, because I can't interact with this tape.
Someone just told me they realized that I wouldn't know what the circle game is, and I'm trying to figure out what that says about me as a person.
You're too femme.
Is it a guy thing?
I don't think the circle thing. Stuff? I'm trying to figure out because I'm like, is it like maybe like Zoomers don't know about the circle game?
Am I a Zoomer?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I don't think it would be like. It definitely can't be you're too old.
I have never watched Derma or Markiplier, so I cannot be a Zoomer.
Markiplier is, I'm pretty sure, millennials.
Oh my god, just shut up.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's true.
Is that true?
I think
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
like zillennial, like that cusp kind of thing.
Zillennial.
Zillennial,
Yeah,
that's what they call him.
I dated a zillennial. He's
Yes.
listening right now.
Hello, Zillennial. Whoa. Hello,
He says
Tony
bro a
Zillennial.
lot.
I
Calls me
know.
bro constantly, like 10 times a day. He's on my stream sometimes, and he goes, bro, bro,
Aw.
bro,
Aw.
bro. It's really cute. And now I say bro all the time, so that's ruined my life.
Is that why a safe space you're in becomes unsafe?
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons, yes.
That's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Um,
It's mostly because I football check people, just ram into them.
oh, I thought for some reason my brain interpreted that as you just like quiz them on football knowledge, and it's like, yeah, it's now classified as a form of harassment because of the fact that I kept doing it.
Just grilling people about football.
Yeah,
I wish I knew about football enough to do that. Sounds good.
to just harass people about it.
Yeah. I'm unfortunately one of those, doesn't know anything about sports people that the internet's full of.
I mean, same. Oh
The
god,
hard
that reminds
life.
me. I need to actually term search and see if I've called things sports fall. Because if so, I need to
Sports
delete those
ball? Oh,
tweets.
Yeah. Well, at least I will say, as a trad wife, I do get a bit of a pass. As long
Well, 'cause
as
that's
I
quirky.
make snacks.
Well, it's
I
quirky for you
do.
to call it sports ball.
I do actually make like all sorts of food on Super Bowl and stuff like that. So I do get a pass, but only as long as I'm making snacks for the games. That's how it works. Listen,
I'm gonna maintain that I grew up in South Bend, Indiana, the home of Notre Dame football. And if I want to like hate sports in a really cliche nerdy way, then that is my absolute
what's
right.
your birthright?
Yeah, that is my absolute birthright. I grew up in the most religious, two forms of religious fundamentalism: Catholicism and Notre Dame football. And if I want to make fun of it, I will.
Yeah, that's fair.
Football specifically. Football is the sport that I can't forgive.
You can't forget.
I can't forgive it.
That's fair.
Alright,
That's fair.
it's out of my hand.
That's Wiesler. Yeah. I guess that's kind of how I treat a lot of days, though. Like, I don't actually care about the thing. I just want to make food for a holiday of some sort.
Yeah, I think that making food for a holiday is a great concept.
I think that's like pretty trad wifey, but also just how probably most people interact with holidays, where they're just like, a day I'm not working and, and I eat food.
Guy on ceiling has virgin slouch. Yeah. I love to make things for holidays. Oh, wait, we got to tell us about what celebrities would you go? I could save him in a trans mask context about.
Jesus.
I think the funniest answer would be Scarlett Johansson, but I shall resist
Ooh.
at this point in time. Is Luck not in here? Ah, fuck, Luck's not in here. All right. In a trans mask way. I'm trying to think of like what's like a woman celebrity who really sucks that I could do that about.
Sarah Silverman?
I don't think Sarah Silverman has has
I
boy
have
vibes,
a-
though.
I
mean,
don't
I've
feel
said Grimes.
comfortable
I've started the
answering
Grimes
this question.
bit.
However, I have a safety for you. I think everyone's gonna get mad at me if I say it though.
No, what is it?
Lena Dunham.
No, that makes sense. I think that makes perfect sense. I think the most trans mask thing you can do is make a TV show called Girls.
Oh yeah. Right. I forgot about Lena Dunham, and now I remember about Lena Dunham.
Party now. Marshall is right down the hall.
The goop lady.
Oh, hey, here's that
Gwyneth
area.
Paltrow.
Here's this area that I jumped into earlier that I wasn't supposed to, and now everything that I needed to be here is spawned in.
The goop lady is her name.
Oh, Paltrow. Flo from Progressive. God, I'm trying to think of some who aren't like internet celebrities,
Wait.
because that gets into weird territory.
Yeah, it's got to be a real life celebrity.
Oh.
Azalea Banks.
I mean, she does have a specific obsession of gay men, so. This is the luck lab. Oh fuck yes. All right, everybody, I need you to get out so I can unlock a suit.
There you are. I was starting to worry.
Nice giant, nice giant microscope, or what is that? Magnifying glass.
Congratulations on your appointment, Director Phaeton.
Thank you.
I'm Helen Marshall, head of Bureau Operations. Zachariah's dead then, and I assume you found his gun.
Just call me Jesse. Trench told me to find you. He said you could help.
And he told you this through the hotline. Makes sense.
None of this phases her? Really?
Here's the situation. Darling created the HRAs in a lab nearby. We need more if we're gonna survive this attack. My rangers can't secure the lab alone, not against those things. We need more firepower.
At least she seems to know what's going on here. She could know about Dylan. I can clear out the hiss. I'll be your firepower.
That's a good answer.
Is she testing me?
Darling has systems in place to protect his labs.
Oh
This should help
wait,
you get
no, I
past
thought of my most problematic
We'll talk
one
more. I'll
for
keep
for
clear
that
out the
answer.
hiss.
J.K. Rowling.
No.
Rangers, let her through.
Well, I don't know. It's like controversial and then like a little bit like obscure, but like let's just say there's a podcaster that I've had this is a recurring bit about. Oh fuck! Oh no! I can't get in there because it's clearance level 5. Oh, can I not do it until then?
Yes, Fern.
Uh,
Joe Rogan.
Addy, very close. one might say the other one close. I forget to unlock. Do you remember if to unlock this suit, I have to get in there, or if it's something that I do out here?
I totally. There's so many love interests for Jesse. I have trouble remembering them all, and then I just saw Marshall.
Oh
Wait,
yeah.
they're all love interests?
I mean, not
I mean,
explicitly.
In my head.
Yeah,
We
they're all
are-
powerful women who condescend to Jesse.
Oh.
Yeah. Love interest, like I said.
No, people who
You
condescend
repeat
to you,
yourself, Jay.
People who condescend to you, I get it.
Okay, I need to be in there for the last step. Okay, so it is. I thought so because I was pretty sure it involved grabbing that fish and putting it in there. All right, so I'm gonna have to come back when I get clearance level 5, and I think I'm at 3. Yeah, I'm only at 3, so it's gonna be a bit before I can come back here.
There isn't an HR department? I thought there was.
I see rangers over there. We have to help them.
I mean, help is a strong. I mean, have to is a strong word, Jesse. But I get you.
I choose to help them. His resources. True.
Yeah, I haven't even tried to save any of the NPCs. It feels completely impossible.
It's doable. It is just definitely very, very hard. It's mostly was just a pain there because it's like you have to like basically kill that healing thing immediately because otherwise they're just constantly regenerating health.
Oh yeah.
Which isn't necessarily hard for yourself, but definitely puts these guys in a bit of a pickle. So that's what happens when they run out of hypnosis. Oh shit, that was the last guy. I forgot that this is the part that actually makes saving these dudes really hard.
Oh, jeez.
Is these exploding things kind of come out of nowhere.
Be lads.
Yeah, I don't think any of them. Oh, one guy survived. Hey, what's up? Congrats, you're the one survivor.
Do you get more survivors if you do it faster or something?
Yeah, it's basically they're like having a little AI battle with the enemies, so you have to like actually like take them out
Pay
without them all getting
attention.
killed. Yeah.
Yeah. I hate stuff like that.
Oh shit, it's Parakinesis whatever guy.
Was this the game that you said had like a one-hit kill mode?
Yes.
That's cool. I don't really like games with shooting in them, or aiming of any sort, but I could consider it just because this game is pretty cool.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of assist modes to make it a lot more playable if that's a.
Yeah, I think it's good in giving you the flavor of kind of like assist that you might actually want.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was the last survivor.
Yeah, because I actually brought it up to one of my boyfriends. Said that he tried playing this game, but everything felt like a health sponge, and he just felt tired of playing it.
Yeah, it's pretty. I found this game pretty spongy.
You could basically play this game as a walking sim with like combat, and it's still great since the lore is so strong. Yeah, no, that's kind of how I feel about it.
It's a beautiful setting, and like.
I love for being like I saved 4 of them. It's not impossible. Sorry, what were you saying, Avi?
Oh, I was just saying that it's like, it's got really good lore, like, and the combat feels fun. Like, it's really spongy, which is the problem. But like, but like, other like when you eliminate those problems, I can see it still being fun, even on kind of like God mode or something like that, just because you get to do cool telekinesis stuff and all sorts of other things.
Yeah, no, Addie's pointing out that this is a great note where it's Darling proposing the Threshold kids because he's like, yeah, I can make puppets. Like, I took a puppet course in college. Like, it's easy. Kids love puppets. Also, having played through this game now, I'm suspecting that the censored name here is our brother.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that's true.
Spoilers.
Because the implication is definitely that it's like they're referring to a kid that they wouldn't have had any reason to have in here otherwise, and they're like, oh, but they have to learn about all this stuff. And as we basically learn later, like Dylan is kind of like the only kid who would have been in here. The fuck was that? Oh, go to pneumatics. The fuck is pneumatics? Oh, that's all the way in. What do I get for doing that? What will I get?
Jay, thank you for this freaking apron thing.
Oh yeah. Do you want you want to post a picture of it in the chat or whatever?
Good. Hold on.
Cause you can. I bought
Yeah.
I bought
I love showing
Tony
off my clothing.
a bear apron.
Oh,
Right
cute.
before Flinch was going to go visit, because we went to an Asian market and I saw it.
It's
And Tony was interrogating it about me earlier, like, how much was this? And I was like, it was
Dude,
at an Asian
it's-
market, so probably like $10 at max. It was
Dude,
enough that I did not think
so-
about it
it-
with regards to buying it. I was just like, yeah, I'll
It is
pick that up.
so cute and it's so good. Hold on, let's try to find it. Where is the photo?
Listen, I just like to get gifts for my friends. Okay, fine.
It's got a bear pocket. Did you know that?
Yes.
The bear is a pocket.
The bear is a pocket?
Boop, boop, boop. Where is that one?
The side missions are never worth it. I'm trying to remember if they are. I felt like they weren't, but I was like, I might as well give it a try, you know? I don't need multiple evade costs. Thank you very much. Oh yeah. Eliminate key hiss targets. Okay. Done. Oh wait, there's another one.
Yeah, look at how cute this thing is. It's so cute. Fucking love it. Bro. I know, it's incredible. I was like, okay, where'd you get it? Because I want more stuff from whoever made this.
Oh, like that you thought like somebody had made it and not that. I was like, no, it was just at like H Mart.
Yeah, I'll take you to that particular H Mart. Yeah, it's really cute. I love it. I love it so much. Wait, I don't think I took any good photos of it. I'm an idiot. Whoop. Oh hell yeah! I just got handed Swedish meatballs from IKEA.
Ooh.
Kick ass.
IKEA?
Yeah, IKEA.
How did that happen?
Bear, I guess just went to IKEA.
Ah.
So, the actually the white dress underneath it is another garment I already had. But they work so well together. You have any sweaty donuts from IKEA? Is that a thing? I don't think I've ever seen their
Sweaty donuts.
Ah,
Yeah, that's I like the dark nature of that.
what are sweaty donuts?
I kind of just want all my clothing to have bear pockets now. Like the bar has been raised. Is there any food in Control?
I thought you were asking me. I was like, what? What? Is there any
What?
food? I thought you were asking me. Like, oh, is there any food? Like, I don't know. What?
Is there any food? No, in Control.
Oh no, Jesse's not very hungry.
How many hours is this game?
It depends, I guess. I'm actually look up. I want to know what is the speed run for this game, because I feel like there's a lot of game itself, and then there's just a lot of side quests. But I guess in theory,
Yeah,
if you don't do a
there's-
lot of the side quests, the actual storyline probably isn't very long.
Yeah, I think that side quests aside, you probably it's not that long. Like minus cutscenes, minus side quests, it would be like a bunch. There are like certainly a bunch of mandatory encounters, but you know,
So it looks like on howlongtobeat.com, I don't know about speed runs. I don't think it's supposed to speed runs. Or no, yeah, there is a speed run. The fastest speed run is 1 hour and 22 minutes.
Dang.
That
Has
that's
to be
not-
using level skips.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it doesn't say no glitch or anything, so it probably is.
I wonder if there's. I wonder if it's been at a GDQ. There's a GDQ happening right now.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, summer dames.
Yeah, summer's right now.
Summer
So,
dames
like,
done cheap.
They
or
always
whatever.
have the like funny block of the like
30 games done dirt cheap.
Yeah, it's true. So the main story, it says median 11 hours, which in my experience is usually what you expect. Leisure is 15 hours, and then rushed is 8 hours and 15 minutes. So it seems like it's actually not that big of a span. I mean, it's almost twice as much time, but the difference between 8 hours and 15 hours is not that much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, but then there's like main and extras actually is 13 hours rushed. So you're doing the extras, right?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be doing, and I'm probably gonna be doing the DLC and stuff. I expect to do this for a good few streams. I don't know if I'll be doing like 40 hours of content, but
Completionist is 20 hours and 28 minutes. So
nice. That's not bad.
I want to do everything in the game.
Yeah, that actually isn't too bad for completionists. I mean, I feel like the a lot of the side quests that I've seen have been like honestly pretty short and sweet. Like, you know.
I mean, there was getting that
Could
like
be.
hypnosis power up side quest. That was pretty easy. A lot
Right,
of times,
like, that was nothing but a side quest.
a lot of times it's like you fight something or you solve a puzzle, and sometimes depending on how long that puzzle takes you, that'll be what defines how long the side quest is. I love that this is where they kind of introduce the concept of rituals being a lot of the like puzzle solving mechanic. Which, as someone who almost ended up with an OCD diagnosis as a kid, I love rituals and constructing them.
Wait a
Do
second.
you like constructing elaborate ones?
Yeah, the more elaborate, the better. And you know what? If they ended me touching the skin of men, even
Yeah, I was about to
ideal.
Yeah, that's baby. Now that's a ritual I can get behind.
Took me a moment.
Folks, we love a good Barbara Kruger reference, don't we?
On this stream, you better believe it.
Man, I wonder if we're gonna run into evil Jesse Faden.
There you go.
Touching the skin of men any percent. Oh. You know, I never noticed these things in here. I wonder if there's a computer I can interact with. I can summon something there. Oh, hey, the rubber ducky. Oh, fuck. I know there's a way to get to that rubber duck, but I think I can't do it until I can fly.
Altered
As
item
with most
number
things in life.
52 AE analysis, session 2. Begin by introducing various stimuli to the item. First, a low voltage electric shock. Response. Next, I will introduce heat via a standard Bunsen burner. response. Next, a series of solutions will be applied, each with a different value on the pH scale, from 0 to 14.
I love all these sound effects. Just gloop, glop. Whoa, 47 minutes for an 80% world
No
record.
response to any
That's got to
value.
be like with like
Next, I
doing
will
stuff where it's like,
attempt
oh, if you
to
jump through here and
communicate.
use this power here, you like clip through
Can you
to a
understand
part.
me? Can you
Yeah,
understand
I
my
have to
words?
imagine, considering like the
Fine.
powers that
If
you
you can
have in this
understand my
game,
words.
there must be some
No
way to
response.
abuse those
This
for
concludes
should,
session
decent
2.
purposes.
Yeah,
Time
it
to
should just
prepare
be like, oh
further
yeah, that's an
tests.
SCP. It's normal.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You've created an altered world event.
Mhm.
Yes, the duck was mentioned in a note we found, I think on the last one, about how somebody like mentioned that their rubber duck was like, their daughter was like, oh, the rubber duck's like following me and quacking, and they were like, nah, it's not an SCP or whatever. And then it turned out that that was true, and then they discovered that like the employee had been taking home
This
like
way to the
altered
lab?
objects, but that they
Okay.
don't really know what the
You must like these HRAs. Sounds like Darling built them. And most of the things around here.
they don't really know what the duck does,
If Marshall
other than
can't
it just
help us with Dylan,
moves
he's our
and
next
quacks.
best bet. Assuming he's not dead. Or taken over by the hiss.
But before you get into the duck, I know when you're walking around this area, you can hear it like quacking.
The duck is the true final boss of the game.
Duck is, no joke, one of the hardest enemies in this game is a fridge.
Makes sense.
Oh yeah.
That
When I
fucking
don't
fridge
look
fight.
at it, I remember us like I remember me and Fern having to do that fridge. We had to fight that bastard many times.
I think there's, God no, that fridge is a fucking gnarly enemy. Pazuzu, I think there's been like a few, but I think technically it's one of those things where it's like, because any given SCP probably has an author who originally came up with it, and so like that's probably where like it gets into weird things. I think I have to be able to get up there, which is why it's like you need to basically be able to fly. No, let me bring this in. Unless... the age-old trick of just stacking things on top of each other until it lets me get in there. No, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just... okay, I'm probably not going to be able to get up there.
When do you get the power to fly?
I think not too far off. It's definitely like one of the later ones you get, but like kind of before, well before I would say you're like even in end game. Like you definitely have like almost all your power ups that you can get.
This game feels like a Metroidvania.
I
Yeah, a
I don't
little
know
bit
what you
of
mean by
one.
that. What could you possibly mean?
I mean, most people wouldn't ascribe the name to a, third-person shooter game.
You led me here. Any idea?
I think a
how to
good
make it work?
malapropism would be like playing a game like this or Hollow Knight and being like, "Oh, is this one of those fiction manias?"
Fiction Mania?
Oh, is this
What
one
the
of
hell is
those?
that?
Is this one of those control likes?
Yeah, control likes. It's true.
Oh.
Hello again, Director. It appears we have a new problem. We need to get the HRA machine working.
I've replaced a couple of spark plugs, but this looks a bit more complicated.
Darling must have had a system. Randomness isn't in his nature. The punch cards, the symbols, the terminals. How do they connect?
I'll see what I can do.
And this is where he has all his weird. So I think I have to collect all these weird cards. And then figure out the order that he wants them put in. Yeah.
So, we need to find all the punch cards.
I'm working on it. I'm looking for those punch cards. I think that's all of them. Right. So I've got 5.
I feel like I hate the term Souls-like personally, and I think they should call them RPGs. Lose all money when you die RPG.
Each punch card should correspond to a terminal.
Roguelikes really did ruin our entire sense of terminology.
Yeah, I was about to say just terminology, period. Well, okay, here's the problem. I think roguelikes was a name given to a bunch of games that looked absolutely 100% identical to Rogue and functioned in almost imperceptibly different ways. Right?
Right. Like, it's the thing about roguelikes that, I mean, like, now that term is kind of diluted a bit, but it really did. A bit. Maybe more than a bit.
I think roguelikes are games, any game with any sort of changes that happen within the game at this point.
A game in which things, you're sounding like a patent lawyer now. A game in which changes happen.
Yeah.
You should be a Nintendo patent lawyer at this rate. Anyways.
Should I?
But no, I mean, like, right, but they did originally refer to like an extremely particular type of like math and game design format and presentation.
Right, because the thing is that at that time there were a bunch of games that were essentially knockoffs of Rogue, or perhaps attempts at making Rogue more interesting by changing one simple aspect of the game, right?
Right, because like Rogue is almost like a board game, and you can change numbers and values. You can create quite a lot of different depth.
Yeah, I think Rogue gained a lot from its own simplicity, and I think that it essentially had like a modern community before that was really a thing, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And so you had all these like differently named games that were all kind of based on Rogue. I mean, I don't even know if Rogue was the first one.
Hey, I got it.
Yeah, I think it might have that because it was like made by some. It was like one of those things that's like so old it was made on a university computer, you know. But it's certainly like Rogue isn't even the most popular. I mean, like I remember back in the day, if you wanted to play a roguelike before like roguelikes were like a popular genre, it was usually like NetHack. Like that was like considered the most accessible roguelike, which is kind of hilarious.
We need more black rock prisms to make this machine work. Darling has another lab. Down in the Blackrock processing site and maintenance.
But even as you
That
have
must be
like
where
kind
he
of like
keeps the prisoners.
Neo
I've been to maintenance already. I can find my way.
Neo
How long
roguelikes
will it
rather
take?
than like
Nothing here is simple.
permadeath
I need
games,
to ask her now.
which is
before I go.
maybe the more accurate
I need
term,
something from
I
you
suppose.
What do you know?
They should
about
call them
Dylan's
change 'em
plan?
ups.
Change them up.
I like it. It's good.
Lives are at stake here.
I mean, I think that
And we need
there
this
is
machine
something to
working
be
to
said
save those
about
lives.
wanting
Once that
games
is done,
where,
activating,
like, there
then
is
we can
some
talk.
sort of proc gen and things change
right.
every time you die or
As much
whatever,
as I
right?
don't
Like,
wanna admit it.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
there is something
I'm
useful
the
to be said
only
about
one
it, but
who can
unfortunately,
help.
like,
yeah,
too
Fine.
broad
I'll
now.
get the prisms first.
yeah. I think
Dylan,
that
I'm
as a
just a
form,
little
like
bit.
that as a set of limitations
don't
in and
call
of
me director.
itself is important,
Jesse is
if
fine.
only because like
I'll call you.
there is no other
move
like
this
genre
Thanks.
of game. There's
I'm gonna
no
go
way to
send the bills
modulate
in
user
executive.
expectation that
Once I have the prism.
dying in this game and getting a game over
Right.
is
I'll
okay,
do that
and that replaying this game is all right,
And keep an
other
eye
than
out for
saying
Dylan.
roguelike these days.
Finding him
That's
is
Like-
fair,
the key
yeah.
to
Yeah,
stopping
that's
the
true. I
hiss.
guess it is kind of like a marketing tool to say it's okay to die.
Right. In this game, it's okay to die, and usually there are like certain
You know-
reasons why.
You know
that-
what those used to be called?
We
Arcade
are
games.
to be
Yeah,
exposed
exactly.
to a
Well,
different
that's the thing
presence.
is that kind of like arcade games.
Hostile.
Arcade games haven't like figured out a way to understand how to square that circle.
Hey,
Ah.
Tuesday Business Days, how you doing?
That's what the
Hey, Two
Uh,
Business
um,
Days.
vampires are for.
I had to
What
censor
you
them because I
talking?
didn't want to get in trouble with
Protection
Jeff Bezos.
Hedron can provide us,
Um,
and keeping us from being
Like-
wiped out.
I mean, pretty much the only game that like, or the only genre that has successfully convinced people that it's okay to die in the arcade game context is like a shmup.
I'm gonna be right back. Y'all can
And
continue this
Souls
conversation.
games.
Yeah, but Souls games also like they don't have like the well, it's a different format, right? You know.
Well, you know what? Actually, you know what? I would argue that actually the most like successful way of playing a Souls game is to never die, right?
Yeah, you could definitely say that.
Although I
Um,
guess that's also true of Rogue. To be fair, though, right? Like you
Yeah, I
theoretically
mean-
play a game of Rogue start to end and never die and succeed.
Yeah, I mean, you are supposed to.
I mean,
It's
no,
just that
you're not
to.
supposed to. You're expected to.
Right, you have
Right.
you have no other choice, but you're supposed to like learn enough about the game so that you.
But right,
is
in
that is a
theory,
possible thing.
in theory, you could theoretically get so lucky that the world
Yeah.
is constructed in a straightforward enough way that you can make it all the way to the end first time without dying. In theory,
Right.
Whereas I do think there are games that not only expect you to die, but you kind of need to die in order to progress.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of neo roguelikes are kind of designed around it actually.
Oh, you know,
like,
I would
unlocking
say
stuff.
that's kind of true of Hades, right?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely true of Hades. I mean,
Right.
you absolutely can beat that game on a new save file, and that's
Yeah.
like its own
I
kind
guess
of like
that's totally
challenge.
true, huh? Well,
But it was definitely designed with the intention that you wouldn't beat it on your first try
Right,
or
of
anything
course.
like that. It's just
and
like
that kind of makes me feel like my issue with the word roguelike is less that I don't know. I think that my issue is that it's like swept in so many things that there's like things within what people call roguelikes that I just kind of I wish they had their own names. Like there's certain like patterns,
yeah.
you know.
No, that's actually quite true. Like there's this like I mean, like one thing that's interesting about like roguelikes, shmups, and Soulsborne type games is that I don't know why we decided they had to be called Soulsborne, but
Why are they called Soulsborne? What?
oh, just they're throwing Bloodborne in
Is it-
with the rest of it, which
I
is
think we could just
fair.
know. I
but
think we
it's
could
like
just
you could
know
just
that
say, like-
Bloodborne is a Souls game.
Right, exactly. You could just say that.
I
But
don't think
also-
we're going to jail for saying that.
Yeah, but Souls like also sounds disgusting, so you never know.
It's true. Roguelike sounds disgusting.
I think roguelike is okay in my onion,
I think we're just
in my
discussing
personal onion. But one thing that I was gonna say is that um
Salt and Sanctuary.
is that like there's like, what is it? So shmups, souls likes, and roguelikes are all ways in which people have figured out ways to make players like okay with playing games over and over again, and expecting
This
that
will lead back
like
to Central Research.
completion is like this long road, like rather than like, you know, a
Yeah.
thing that you just like kind of like accumulate progress through the game and then
I feel like
complete it. So I think it
Sorry.
would be sorry, just let me finish this one thought. I think it would be useful to talk about those three things together, because like that's the major thing that they all have in common, and I think it's useful to talk about this vocabulary of like, wait, how can a game convince players that failure is okay and acceptable and even fun? And I feel like those like, you know, we should be talking about those traits as a collective whole rather than being like, oh, these are three completely distinct genres that only reference themselves and never reference each other or any
Vibration,
other.
frequencies,
Yeah.
waveforms.
Yeah, I
Feels
mean, I guess
we
that
didn't know we
the
were
issue is part of just like the
physics.
concept, the way that genres are used. Period. Just doesn't make sense because what people are really looking for is certain mechanics mostly.
Yeah, and like somebody's talking about Mystery Dungeons, and Mystery Dungeon is like really interesting because
Trying to
it's
warn me of something.
a game that
I've
is
been
like,
using every known method
it is
analyze
to the
data.
Dragon Quest as like the JRPG is to,
I've seen
or
things
like,
and
what am I
overcome
trying
my
to say?
compulsion. It's
Is that
not
like
just data,
to,
it's
it's kind of like
It's benign.
the equivalent of like Dungeons and Dragons and JRPGs. They kind of like have their own vocabulary, but like
We
they
are
like,
about to be
there's this actually like
exposed
long
to a
history
different kind
of
business.
J roguelikes that nobody like really thought about or cared, even though they're even on like the NES and like Super NES, like the Mystery Dungeon games. They're like a pretty like,
That's
Oh yeah, sure in the
they've
Wanderer.
got like a super long, yeah, Share in the Wanderer, and all of those are like have a history that's almost as old as Dragon Quest.
taking the
And like yeah, it's an adaptation of Rogue to Dragon Quest basically. So that has its own kind of like separate lineage that has like evolved. Now that like Mystery Dungeon is, and a lot of J roguelikes that are imitating Mystery Dungeon only kind of reference Mystery Dungeon. It's like this branch that like split off and then never has referenced anything else ever again. So
Oh my god, I completely forgot that Dark Cloud's levels were procedurally generated. I completely forgot that.
I don't really know. Is Dark Cloud the one that has like the photos?
Yeah.
That's the thing I remember about Dark
I
Cloud.
played Dark
Damn,
Cloud
I did not
2.
know that it was a
Yeah,
a
the level.
roguelike.
So I will say one of the things about Dark Cloud 2 is that like if you have all the time on the planet, and maybe if they make a remake that's a little more respecting of your time, because all the cutscenes are still super slow, everything's super slow. There's like weird there's like, you know, a 10-second walking into the level intro for every level. Like, you know, that like it just wastes your game. Your
Yeah,
time
probably
a lot.
like low.
Because it's PS2
load
era. That's
times,
that's what all those games did. I mean, even if it wasn't load time, they were just very used to just wasting your time. But I would say that if you have all the time in the world, Dark Cloud 2 is an incredible game because
Well, a lot of people say good things about it.
it is a game that contains like everything that a video game can contain in one video game. And it is
And impressive
insane.
pedigree.
Like I had played maybe like 50 hours of the game, and then they were like, and now you can do fishing, and I was like, are you sure? And I remember like my weapon started developing new projectile like systems like
Wow.
when I was en route to the final boss of the game. and I was like, okay, really? You're continuing to throw mechanics at me? It's like a game that just like the producer like went into a coma and the director just got to like do whatever they wanted forever. It's wild. I think it's cool.
Yeah,
I think
that
it's
sounds
good, but
amazing.
I have tried to go back to it as an adult and played it. I wasn't even that young when I played it. I played it long after it came out. I was probably like 19 or 20 or something like that. But like trying to play it as an adult now is like torture because it's just so slow. But if they ever make a remake, I might replay it because it is insane how not complex, but just how much stuff there is. And it is the sort of thing where like it is kind of complex in that there's a million things that you can do with everything, but at the same time you don't actually have to do any of that stuff. Like I literally never fished, I think I literally never did any of the fishing. You can play golf in it. I don't know if you know about that.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
At some point the game allows you to take a like, you know, it's like a dungeon level that is like proc gen, right? And then like immediately upon beating it, you can choose to play golf in that level. And like get like a golf ball from like the end of the level to the beginning of the level or whatever, right? And it's a proc gen level, right? So it's unique every time. Like that is the sort of shit that Dark Cloud 2 does, and it is like, oh, that's right. It has a whole mech system that you can literally ignore. Yeah, it has a mech system you can just ignore. You can just not do. And it is it's extremely deep. Like every single system is extremely deep. You have like two characters that you can play with, and one uses like swords and one uses branches and stuff. But then there's also different kinds of weapons they can branch out into, and they are very different actually. And they have like very different systems. And you can just like never use one of the characters. Like that's how this game is, and it is so bizarre how unnecessary the amount of stuff in it is and how well done all of it is. It is just a weirdly vast game when it comes to mechanics. I also thought it ended like 5 times and just kept going. So it must have been like 200 hours. Like it was just so long. I remember after beating the first like world of Dark Cloud 2, I was like, it's like you kind of it's got a town building sim, also, so that's a thing, you know, with like NPCs that appear once you like build the towns. Yeah, like once I got through the first like dungeon and like town building sim, etc., and like built the first town, I was like, wow, that was a really good game. And then they were like, on to the next one, and I was like, what do you mean? Oh, the town building was neat. I agree.
I knew there was something on my map I hadn't gone to yet. It was the spooky room. So wait, what kind of game is this?
Oh, I was talking about Dark Cloud 2. It's
this is a game that I hear like really well recommended by a lot of people.
I'm not recommending it. It is so slow. It takes so long to play. But it is just a weird game.
It's a game that I've heard many positive things about.
Oh, I mean, I'm very glad that I played it, and I don't think I have the patience to now, but I'm glad that I played it because it was just like vast. It was just so ridiculous. But it's basically like a, you know, it's like a adventure RPG sort of thing, but you like you know, you go around dungeons and you fight and stuff or whatever, and you can like focus on different kinds of fighting too, and you can use items instead, and you can use melee weapons and like all these different things. But then also there's like you can take photos of things, and then like the photos of things that you take like give you ideas, and then you make inventions out of those, and like it's this is the mechanic that I remember hearing about. Yeah. Like, you can take photos of anything, and you kind of should take photos of everything, but it's like so complex because you could take a picture of the sun, right? So you aim at the sun, you take a photo, right? But if you take a picture of the sun setting, it'll say like setting sun. It's like a different thing. Jesus. And then like there are things where it's like
they used to let people make video games.
Yeah, like forever. I don't know how long it took, but this game must have taken like 200 years to make. But yeah, there's like a point I think where like the sun is setting in the main, like the first starting town, which you go back to a lot, and it's like the sun is setting at a certain time, and like because time passes, of course, because that it has everything, so there is a time system and things change throughout the time of the day. But the sun is setting and there's like an archway in that city, and if you take a photo of the sun like within the archway, that is also a different photo like of a
Oh my
city.
god.
Like they're just stuff like that where it's just like really ridiculous. There's like things where like if you take a photo of a thing in front of another thing and it kind of looks like, I don't know how to describe it. Like if there's like a like a square block and a stick or something somewhere, and you if you line it up a certain way it looks like an axe. If you take a photo of it, it might be like axe, and that's like the best, like an easy way of getting like a photo of that item. Like that's kind of how it works, and it's really bizarre, but it's really cool.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, if it was more playable, I would say it's an incredible.
Right, yeah, it's like one of those games. There's so many games where it's like, I almost want to like hear about it or watch it rather than like actually play it,
totally.
because it's like, okay, like it's probably a genius, but it's just like actually not physically good to play in this day and age.
No, yeah, that's the thing is, I run into a lot of those games where like I try to play it now and then I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out if there was because there's like this weird thing you can find about making all these TVs match throughout the game, like throughout the area, and to possibly unlock something. Like it's very much so framed in like, oh, if you do this thing, you'll find a secret thing. So I was trying to find out if anyone ever figured out what the fuck that was, and the answer so far is no.
Oh.
But we can't do it yet. Okay. There's a whole cool little thing in this area in the mirror world. But,
Oh yeah, I love the Mirror Jesse was fucking hard.
yeah,
I recall
that's also why I
correctly.
zoomed in on this bitch. Cause that outfit will come into play later. I think you can also get a bunch of stuff in that area that you like literally have to like leave like the mirror world in order to get, like in order to understand, because it's all backwards.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Because like people even talk backwards.
Yeah.
In the mirror world.
And there's like a file you find where like one guy is talking backwards and the others aren't. But when you go into the mirror world, you can hear that guy talking, and he's like, "What are you guys talking about? Why are you all talking backwards?"
Whoa.
Yeah.
Good night, Ringo.
Hey, good night, Ringo. What about the stuff hanging from the bulletin boards? Hold on, I'll go back in there.
There's a puzzle that you need to see images from the bulletin boards?
That might be something that we get after we get into the mirror world, because the mirror world is currently blocked off for level 6, or for clearance 6, and we're still on 4, I think, now. Yeah, we're still only on 4, because we can't do the luck puzzle until we're 5. Oh, these things? Yes, I think these are what come up in the mirror world, but there's like not really anything we can interact with yet in here, beside for the file that we picked up. So I guess we're gonna go do this other thing that they want us to do, black rock processing. Something. So, what is this game for? The one you guys are talking about? Like, is it like a PlayStation 1?
Yes. Yeah, it's PS2, I think.
Oh, PS2. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's definitely like a, I don't know, it just has so much stuff in it that it's kind of unbelievable. I feel like I'm definitely forgetting some of the mechanics. Like it's got fishing, it's got golfing, it's got fighting obviously,
Marshall
but
knows
different kinds of
something about
fighting,
Dylan.
mech
Is he
riding,
here? Is he all right?
mech building
HRAs
also is very
first.
complex
They'll
system.
help save everyone,
It's like,
including
oh, yeah,
Dylan.
that's right, I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember
it
what
sounds like
I
it was
find him.
from that era where they were
Can
giving
you keep him safe?
developers a lot of money without a lot
Like
of
you do with me?
oversight, and then the Japanese side of the industry collapsed really hard, and then they didn't let that stuff fly anymore.
Oof.
Man, I'd be missing the
Yeah.
the PS2 era.
Yeah, I
I
like.
mean, there literally was an era where it felt like they were giving people, well, maybe more money and authority than they ever should have, but
Yeah.
damn, it did lead to some really interesting games.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've always wished that there would be a remake of Dark Cloud 2. I do actually genuinely believe that if they remade it such that they cut out all of the like very slow like walking from point A to B animations, etc. Like because there's just tons of those. If you play the game, you will understand what I mean because it's like what should have taken 3 minutes takes like 20 for some reason.
Oh.
Like if they just cut those out or something or change then I think it'd make a really good remake.
Yeah, there's so much, like, there's so many like JRPGs that I'm like, wow, this is like really brilliant and interesting, and also like without a fast forward button of some kind, it's like
Oh yeah, totally.
really hard to like. It's just so hard to justify how much time it actually went out of you versus like how much new it has to offer you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been playing a little bit of Saga Frontier for the remake.
Oh yeah, the remake
one. Yeah, I was playing a little bit of that, which was weird because the one I had on Steam wasn't working, which is weird. So I got it on Switch instead. It was like the first time I returned a game on Steam, but
oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crashing every time I like changed rooms, which was weird. But Saga Frontier it has fast forward.
Right, yeah.
I was just like playing the entire game fast forward, and it was great. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all we really need, really. Emulators had it figured out.
Yeah, they really did. I'm glad that it's really funny to see emulators kind of like cause that sort of thing to happen.
Yeah,
like
it's such a good quality of life upgrade. I mean, it's funny because it's like such a clever workaround to like essentially all of the woes of a lot of old school video games, which is just that things took too long, especially when you get to the PS1, PS2 era.
Way too long.
way too long. Yeah, I feel like most PS2 games, like you're in the tutorial level or whatever. Like the game hasn't actually started until you've played for like 2 hours, and that's just normal for that era of game. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
There's that like era of gaming has like burned into me the minds like the sort of like default reaction to of just like, well, I better containment sector, is that where I need to go? I better like create a extra save right after the tutorial so I never have to do it again.
Yeah, if you ever want to replay.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, goodness.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd almost like it if games had like, I don't know, it's just like I really want to play the feeling of a JRPG that's like, I don't know, just nicer to me in terms of how much time.
Yeah. I mean, respecting your time is usually what I say. Like, just
yeah.
Like, a lot of old games really don't respect your time, and that's partially because like games back then kind of tried to pad themselves out, and they also tried to like counterbalance loading time by making everything else slow too.
And I think that there's like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like sometimes games these days haven't necessarily learned that lesson very well. Not
to respect your
as
time.
somebody was saying
Yeah.
like that they were talking about Anthem and other like I mean unfortunately your problems with your anthems and your gashapons and your whatevers is that like it used to be that they just wasted your time for no reason, but now they have financial incentive to waste your time.
It's true.
They get
Yeah.
paid the
Which
more of your time they waste.
Right, which unfortunately means that they haven't gotten better about wasting your time. But they have gotten better at making you feel more addicted to them at a rate that causes you to notice that you're wasting your time less.
The containment
Is how I would
center
put
of
it.
Panopticon is home to the altered items we find.
The most
It is
sinister
maximum security
uh,
prison. It's a vault for the most valuable treasures
of all.
on Earth. It's a
That's
powder
true as well, though.
kingdom
Clunk
to
brings up
blow
like the
this
fact that
world
it's
to
like
dust.
they also wanted you to.
Temple,
It's that sort of like
place
look at what
portions
we
filled
can
with
do.
items
So like that is like the other
of
problem
gods.
is a bit of
It's
the
all of these
forced slowness is
and
just
none of
flexing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I mean,
found.
PS2 era games, I
Who
feel like
knows something
especially,
about Dylan?
were the first time
Is he
that
here?
I feel
Is
like
he all
consoles
right?
were capable of doing
HRAs
things that
first.
PC games had
They'll
been
help
doing
save
for a long
everyone,
time.
including Dylan.
And so they definitely
Once
were
I
like,
find him.
ooh, look at this that we can do, like
Or
about
keep him
literally
safe.
everything.
Like you do. with
Yeah,
me.
I mean, there's also a certain kind of like, I mean, I think games have often still struggled with this, but like, even like knowing how to tell a story, efficiently and effectively is very difficult. I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot to that, but it's kind of hard. Well, it's very hard to do. It's very impossible to make a video game.
It's impossible to make a video game. I think that
I
at the end of
feel
the day, that's just true.
Like now that I'm thinking about it, I think about how like a lot of JRPGs that really like are able to justify kind of like how long and convoluted their stories are. I mean, this is kind of like a problem caused by them having like long, repetitive, like grindy combat, but it's also like, oh, it like gives you this sense, you know, that you're having this like long journey.
Yeah, that's true.
Rather than like, and I think famously this was the thing that they were going for with the original Dragon Quest, was that it was a game anyone could play that would like give you this sense of accomplishment, and all of the math of a JRPG or even an RPG in general is about giving you this sense of progression. Like that's the real innovation that
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons like, which is we should have used that instead of RPG.
Dungeons and Dragons lights, that's good. Like,
We don't have,
We can
Don't
change
do
it.
any
We
damn
could just
roleplay.
change it. Just start calling them D&D type beats.
D&D type beats. God, I want to listen to what a D&T type DMT type beat.
DMT. Oh, I said D.
DM.
I said D&D type, but
No,
DMT type is also really good.
I tripped over your joke and stumbled into that joke.
And stumbled into my next genre of music that I would like to listen to.
That makes me think about Dragon Quest XI, which I played and liked and haven't quote unquote beaten yet, but I still want to. But I'm like 120 hours in. But I will say
Yeah, there's so much.
I will say Dragon Quest XI is 4 games, essentially.
Yeah.
And like they're not all like the same kind of game, and they're not all the same length of game, and they're not all the same tone of game. Some of them are definitely very upsetting, actually.
Oh my god, I like. Here's the thing. I watched Fern play it.
Dragon Quest XI all the way through?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no.
Oh.
Just like a couple of hours of it.
Oh.
But she was
What?
playing this one particular
Hour
side quest.
1 to 5 or 100 to 105?
It was like, it was early on in the game.
Oh, okay.
It
was before the real game began.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is still in the quote-unquote tutorial, but it was what was it? It was okay. It was all about this mermaid, this really cockney mermaid.
Oh my god, the mermaid thing. Oh my god.
And it was so fucking upsetting. I was like, haha, this is really funny. This cockney mermaid, all this mermaid racism, and then the ending of that story was just like, was genuinely like, I was like, this doesn't make any sense at all. Unless it's a kind of like, yeah, women over 30 certainly shouldn't be alive if they're not married. Was a little bit of the subtext of what was happening there. But it was also actually like, damn, this was like a cute, funny adventure. We fought like this adorable squid, and then it was like, damn. Some writer on the Dragon Quest team was like, nah, this is...
I will say it is more complicated than you think. And that's kind of the thing. And unfortunately, it's like impossible to talk about that game without spoilers. Because it's definitely one of those like, oh, that's your first loop. It's different. It's like that. Yeah, it's honestly a lot like Nier. Interesting. It things change drastically in tone once things are revealed and things change.
People have been so cautious about spoiling it that is the first time I've heard an actually interesting reason.
I know, and I honestly feel like maybe I fucked up, but it is... No. The thing is, Dragon Quest XI is definitely the game that I would be most scared of spoiling of any game of history. Because I think that every payoff in Dragon Quest XI is incredible.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like people like this is I mean I'll say that this is the fine line with spoiler stuff for me always, right? Is that it's like you need to give me enough, like I understand, right? Because like otherwise I'm like, well, that doesn't sound it doesn't sound like my shit, you know? Like you have to give me some reason why this game in particular.
Fern, just be careful with your feelings is all. That's all I'll say. I'll just be careful with your feelings. My feelings were hurt a lot by that game.
This is Dragon Quest XI, you said?
Yeah. Things get rough.
So like, yeah, exactly. It's like.
Sorry, Fern. Just play the game. I liked it. I liked all many hours of it.
What's it for? Oh wait, shit! Mia just showed up. Hi, Mia.
It's for everything. Hi, Mia, play Dragon Quest XI.
Okay.
No, just kidding.
I kind of I don't know if I want to play a super recent one, but I've kind of been wanting to play a Dragon Quest.
You know, if you play Dragon Quest 1, it's like you can beat it in a sitting. It's only like 4 hours or whatever. It's not that. It honestly.
They have kept being like that.
I know. Right?
I hear that 4 and 5 are the most interesting sounding ones to me. Cause like,
yeah, if you want to play basic one is basically what RPG Maker games are. And then 3 is like a much cooler version of that. Definitely do not play 2, in my opinion. Okay. But I mean, do whatever you want, live your life. But and I didn't get very far in 4. But 4 was weird. It changed a lot of no spoilers. Never mind. Dragon Quest games are games you cannot talk about. That is just how it works.
I mean, like those games have the statute of limitations is out on those games. I mean, and also like.
Hello?
I mean, also,
but it also like it's complex because of the way spoilers work within the series too.
Oh, well, I mean, I know that like the basic premise of 4 is that you've got like a kind of party of people that assemble over time, and then like 5 is the one where you like start out as a kid and like there's like a marriage element, like there's like dateable characters, and then you like become an adult at a certain point.
Cheeseburgers, yeah, that's true. 2 is very hard, and it's basically Dragon Quest 2 is basically just like they took the first game and they just tried to make it as convoluted as possible, which is not good or fun. It's the way Dragon Quest 2 works, and this is like, please skip that one if you're gonna play them. Just skip that one. The way Dragon Quest 2 works is like say you have a map and there's 2 cities on either side of the map that take forever to get to, right? Like you will have to go to city A and speak to like the little old lady in the 3rd house on the left twice, and then you go across the world to this other place and speak to like some guy near the pier, and then you go back to the first place and then you speak to this other guy, and so it's like this endless, like you're just basically hunting for triggers, for like, you know, game triggers, like non-stop. That's all it is. You just like constantly running around and talking to the same NPCs over and over and over and over throughout the entire world. It is not fun. It's weird because 3 almost feels like they were like, well, that was a bad idea, let's do the opposite, and 3 is good, but like definitely 2 is like, well, how do we make this as grueling and torturous an experience as possible?
I'm now looking up Dragon Quest 11. That's the one you said that's like you strange.
Wait, we can't talk about it because Fern is.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. It's very complicated.
It is on PC.
And Fern is playing it.
It says it's on
for PC. It is on PC.
I think it's on everything. I think it's on
everything. Correct.
Practically every platform.
Yeah, it's on your N-Gage. It's on your
N-Gage. It's on Switch, PS4,
PSP.
I'll
on PSP.
I'll
It's
go
on
ahead and
the
put it.
Ouya.
I'll go ahead and put that in my last chance to choose my fate. What?
Whoa, that's pretty ominous. Oh, is it on sale because of the Steam sale?
Oh,
Probably
that's
not.
what I was hoping. It doesn't look like it is. Oh, it was just Steam was doing like, hey, last chance to choose your fate, and then my fate was, you can browse our sales that we have right now.
Oh shit! A fate worse than death.
Dragon Quest XI does not appear to have anything.
Oh,
does not
Fern says
have
that
any
she can
sales on it.
free on Xbox Game Pass.
Wait.
But
Dragon Quest 11 is not what?
Is not on sale
Oh, you mean it's not
on Steam.
like, not discounted.
It's
or-
not
Yeah,
on
it's-
discount.
it's
It is
$40.
It is for sale. It is just not on sale.
It is for $40, and as somebody who does not like JRPGs, that's a hard sell. But once it goes down, I'll remember to buy it and maybe play it. Sidebar: this was the part where when we come out here, there's like you can hear tourists outside being like, "Hello, is anyone open? Is there anyone here?" Which does imply that this is a real hotel somewhere in America.
I'm really loving this like warm, sleepy motel light.
I hate the fact that I spoiled the thing about Dragon Quest 11 and I feel bad about it, but simultaneously I feel good that everyone seems to want to play it now.
Well, it's
But
like
it is-
You shouldn't say anything more, but it's also like that was the first thing where I was like, okay, thank God, finally somebody told me a reason to play this game.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like that's if I was completely like, oh, I don't give a shit about a fucking dragon and his quest, and then you said that, and I'm like, I might be interested in a dragon and his quest.
There is a pretty like amazing fag in this game too.
Yeah, I will
Like,
actually say that not only does he grow on you, he continues to grow on you forever, and I love him. And he's perfect and beautiful. I will actually say the characters all grow on you over time.
Also, he has like fucking an art. Like he is a pirate and also an acrobat. He has a pirate galleon full of like gimp masked muscle guys with like full pup masks.
I'm not even gonna tell you who's the daddy is in that game, but that is a thing that's in the game too. That involves that character. It's
Here we go.
it's a thing.
It's
yeah,
like
there's a lot of cool stuff in that game.
so.
The only thing I had known about DQ11 was Sylvando previously, and like it was one of those things where it was like my friends were really into it, but it was like, that's great, you love men, I do not. I'm so happy for you, sweetie, but if there's other good things,
Well, they're charming, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I liked a lot of things about that game, but
We need to find a way to Blackrock
it's
processing.
interesting.
That's where Marshall said
I'm
we'd
trying to find
the
now I'm trying to find the gay parade scene. Hold on.
oh,
So I definitely took a picture of it with my what?
I just laughing at. I gotta find the gay parade. 1 second.
Hold on a sec.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Where's
I think
that?
I've seen screen caps of that.
Well, I posted one on my Instagram. That's where I'm looking. You probably saw that. I just posted it without context, and I was like, oh, I got to the gay parade, and then everyone's like, what? What is this game? Yeah, yeah, I will say it is a bit of a spoiler that the length of the game is definitely like 100 hours. And that is a bit of a spoiler, but also like that is a thing you should know before you get it, just because.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
I just assumed
that's an
that it was 100
investment.
hours.
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what I would.
I mean, that's exactly why I wasn't gonna, you know.
If I would really like content warning, it is 100 hours.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is
we need to
exactly where
normalize
I'm
that.
at.
Oh my god, did
Yeah.
I've heard
Where am
things
I?
about the like Dragon Quest Minecraft. It's like really fucking cute and beautiful, honestly, from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's very cute looking. I don't know. It's very like Hunter x Hunter two boyfriends.
Okay.
From what
here
I
we
can
go.
tell.
I found my Instagram post, and you can. It's a spoiler, so don't click it if you don't want to. But sound on if you do click it.
Oh, wonderful.
Did you like Dark Souls font gay parade?
Wow.
I would like it in the bonfire lit. Gays paraded.
gays paraded? Jesus.
So fucking big.
It's very good.
DQ Builders, yeah.
Wait, what? Dragon Quest Builders? Is someone talking about Dragon Quest Builders?
Yeah, somebody said it's also free on Xbox Game Pass.
Dude, Dragon Quest Builders 1 was one of my favorite games ever.
Oh, fuck.
It is
Damn.
so good. It is so good. And I played Dragon Quest Builders 2 and I thought it was fine. But I don't actually think it improved on what Dragon Quest Builders 1 did. Dragon Quest Builders 1 is really interesting. I think I partially also played it as someone who always wished they could enjoy Minecraft, but has never been able to ever. I love Dragon Quest Builders a lot.
It has some really cute, it's really great to watch, like, a Minecraft with, like, art direction.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's Minecraft, but it's beautiful and everything works well and makes sense and is, like, interesting.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
And all I remember is, like, really fucking cute, like, wonderful, just, like, character animation and, like, little props, and I just remember seeing lots of, like...
Did you get all the way
I
to the
haven't played
end?
it myself.
Oh, I see. I will say another thing that's bizarre about it is that it's kind of like very hokey and dorky, and this is kind of just a Dragon Quest trick. It's very kind of dorky, but by the end of it, you actually love the story, and that is actually true of Dragon Quest 11. Is it's very like, oh, this is kind of dumb, and then like by the end of it, you're like, I love everything about this world and the people in it.
Oh, that's very cute.
It certainly happened to me, and I've heard a lot of other people say the exact same thing. They were like, you cannot resist the very, very dorky charms of the characters in the game world.
That seems like a really good Nintendo Switch Zone Out game.
Dragon Quest Builders or 11?
Dragon Quest Builders.
Yeah. Oh, the Dragon Quest Builders, yeah, it's really cute. It's really neat. It's got fun stuff in it. Yeah, I felt like Dragon Quest Builders 2 was like more complexity, but I don't know if that's what the game needed.
Yeah, it does seem like I get really overwhelmed when I look at content of a game and it seems like there's a lot in it, even though that's the kind of game where you want a lot of.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, yeah, because, I don't know, I feel like I wasn't ever overwhelmed by Dragon Quest Builders 2, it just kind of felt like all of the new features were just not necessary for me to have enjoyed the game.
That makes sense.
Inside, they found a door marked with an inverted
Darling is Darling.
black.
I was gonna say, I love
Just
this
like that.
fucking
He really
guy.
is.
It led back to the oldest house, some 2,000 miles from Montana. Now we're finding the cord and increasing numbers throughout the bureau. Somehow
Getting
the two
it-
places they
getting
became
it,
in tune
like,
to each other.
Getting the mood right
The
to
actual
have
physical
a bow
location
tie
of
and have
is a mystery.
is a really
Stepping beyond
hard
its
thing.
walls has so
I
far
think.
proven impossible.
Like, I'm just looking at it like, damn, that man's
Place of
wearing a
power.
bow tie. And I think it's good,
Like the
and I
oldest
love
house.
him.
He might be the one of the first men to get away with wearing a bow tie.
With that, I haven't done my shot today.
You say that and instantly a bow tie begins growing around you, like in some sort of like morbid TF sequence.
I'm on bow tie blockers, it's okay. Don't worry.
Mia, how are you? Whoa. Oh wait, Mia probably went to go do her tea.
Way to wash my hands. 1 sec.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, wait a second, dude. I love this weird abstract art in the middle. Oh, fuck! God, this game rules. Okay, I don't want to go there yet, because some guy was yelling at me. I don't want to do that. It's like such a thing, like the masks and the bow ties thing. You can get a Dr. Darling emote on Steam and it's just excellent. Oh shit. Wait, is that one of those ones you have to buy or do you like unlock it? Like from just playing the game?
Oh, you might get like, so you get Steam points for every like purchase you do, and I think those are what you can spend them on.
I've definitely noticed
So,
that, because for buying this game, I got the Calico Cats, like that you can do for like a weird side quest later in this game. Like I got them as like one of those like Steam page background things. So when you go to my profile, it's flanked on either side by the Calico Cats.
right. Yeah, that's exactly the sort of
Jellicle
thing. Oh, Jellico Cat.
The Jellicle Cat.
If you're
Juggalo Cat come out tonight.
If you were forced into a TF situation and was recorded and put onto E621 and you had to live the transformation to SCI life, what object would you choose to TF into? I guess it depends. Is it like, am I sentient? Am I capable of mobility? Because technically, Pickle Rick is TF, but like he can like move and shit.
You're fucking right, actually.
Oh, Tony.
They've each taken a few hits. We need to get
What
them
is
to the
TF?
station
What is the
ASAP.
fuck with you?
Yeah, so like, here's my question about this. Are you talking about like specifically like an object TF, or are we talking like sentient beings? Sentience with limited movement. Okay, so that see like animals is
Limited movement is like pretty.
That's a game
I
changer.
don't know. It's pretty big. That's a real game changer, obviously.
What would I be the most chill living my life as? I guess like if I was like a game controller, I could theoretically still play video games.
Yeah.
Because I would
that's
just be moving
that's hacked.
myself.
What a hack.
Damn.
Damn, I gotta think about
You could be held by people all the time.
Yeah.
That feels like a really good one.
Held like a hamburger.
People,
Yeah, held like a hamburger.
gamer
But held
girls
with
would
love.
take sexy photo shoots with me,
I
where
do
they
that.
like where they're like biting on the
That's how I got my
controller.
boyfriend.
Into the quarry threshold just after 0500.
Go like not real animal but stuffed animal.
Oh,
it's
that's a
funny,
good one.
I was gonna say stuffed animal too.
Yeah.
Just after 0500.
I might have
like
to
a
take
lady.
stuffed
Please
animal.
state your names and describe the purpose
But
of
people
your
are jerking off to
expedition.
the TF thing. People will jerk off to what they want to jerk off to. I can't control that.
Yeah, they're jerking off to this.
If you're getting
I've had
TF, I feel like that's already a given. right?
That's furthest thing from my mind is how embarrassing I look when I'm turning into a video game controller.
And did you encounter any
Oh, people jerk off to you? That's crazy.
Yeah.
purpose of your expedition?
And because I'm a fucking video game controller, I'm probably not.
You're fine.
You know, it's like a tag that I imagine people wouldn't be looking for a lot, so I'd be pretty safe from
Hey,
that.
thanks for bringing down.
Oh, we were asked about TF.
Whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah. I am upset. I'm
But
still
we are barely
obsessed with
holding on here, boss.
I still have to read that
How's the
fucking
situation outside?
Marguerite
What do I tell him?
novel. But
Truth
I
is harsh,
think
but
every
these
single day
people
about the
seem
quote that my
familiar
friend
with
posted
us.
from it that is just like
The
this
hits are
priest
everywhere.
whispering,
Most of the glow is lost.
when I'm
We need
reincarnated,
Blackrod
I want to
prisons made more
be
HRAs
a
than any
beautiful
survivors in
woman's
the safe
earring.
rooms. I'm here to check Darling Blackrod.
Oh,
To recap,
Reese-
death, disaster, and imminent destruction.
Hold on, I'm actually gonna
The
see if I can
FBC.
find a quote.
But Darling's lab is just past blackout
good,
process.
good for him.
I
got good news and I got bad
I
news.
did
hope he
forget
did.
that
That's
in
a
this
novel about-
sequence,
Yeah.
Right down the hall.
there's
Bad
a
news is
weird
this monster
glitch
decided to move in.
where it continues to run the subtitles of the
what the
background
Rangers said.
characters talking.
The ones that survived, anyway. But we are just treading water here, and the hiss keep coming.
Which is an
Salvador rode
ADHD
the
person's
security team
worst
of the
nightmare.
Containment sector just before the lockdown happened. And we know
Games
it's
are
not
hard.
since. But hey, at least we got you.
The best
Fearless
thing
leader.
about video games is that when you make them,
shouldn't
they work
rely on
right
me.
the first time, every time.
They don't
Yeah.
know me.
Yeah.
And they call it
don't know how I
playtesting because
fail people.
you're just playing around
You've done a good job.
and testing
Parrish.
my patience.
Right. You
You
don't
should
have
take
to.
your people and get to the base and
You
examine
just
it.
gotta find the
You can
fun.
regroup there.
Yeah.
God, I remember listening.
I'll
One
go
of the
deal with this
most
monster.
gonna shade some random
Getting
person
kinda used
from
to it.
GDC who's probably incredibly
I
famous,
feel-
but one of
Sure,
the
put a
worst
bullet in that thing
GDC
for me.
like lectures was this micro talk I listened to, where there was this guy who's talking about again, some Sony AAA game, and he was like, "Yeah, you gotta find the fun, you gotta make sure that you have time. You don't always find the fun first, so you gotta know when to do it." And I was like,
You gotta know where to look
fucking
for the
look.
fun. That's
you gotta
the
know
real
where
trick.
to look for the fun, and and sometimes it doesn't always work out, and then you have to do something different. I was like, you didn't do anything, did you?
You've got sometimes the fun is like a
Maybe they were-
leprechaun. You gotta get to the
Maybe
end
they
of the
were
rainbow.
good. Maybe they were good at designing games, but just not talking about how they designed them. But it was a
I
lecture
refuse to
that
believe
was
they
a-
did anything. I refuse to believe a person talking about their design process for anything is find the fun. I'm like, you've never made anything in your life.
This was like it's so common to have like that be like, oh yeah, we gotta find the fun, but it feels a little bit more like game college or like executive talking
She wasn't
about
kidding about that
stuff than
monster.
it does about like.
You just really have to tighten up the level, tighten up the graphics.
It really is some tighten up the graphics type shit.
Yeah, can we just punch up these graphics right here? Just punch them up.
Tighten up the graphics on level 3. That's all we gotta do.
So we found a bug in the game. You guys can just turn that off, right?
Yeah.
Just like disable the bug.
Yeah, turn it off.
Oh shit, we got a swan boat.
Hey, donate 500 bits to add an extra milliliter to my dose, everyone. Let's get a hype train going.
To get a hype train to forcibly testosterone, to forcibly masculinize you, to give you the J.K. Rowling treatment.
Oh god.
The old J.K. Rowling treat.
I'm gonna give you the old J.K.
down.
handshake.
You showed me the HRA.
The old J.K. handshake.
And
Shut the
machine that
fuck
makes
up,
them.
Tony. All right, Jay, whatever money you make from that, give that to me.
Okay,
But I
that
have
is
invested
$5.
interest
So I can give you $5.
Fair. Tia.
Create the world you want to live in. That's all I'm saying.
By the way, I love that tweet.
Cody, that is direct action.
When T discourse was going on of Brew being like, I agree, they should talk more about the side effects of taking tea for people who don't know them, such as becoming insanely sexy and getting infinite bitches.
That seems accurate.
It's so true. More people need to know about the serious consequences.
Listen, the first month on T, I got hit on by 2 separate Zoes.
That sounds accurate. That sounds correct.
That's pretty accurate. You will get so many Zoes.
Yeah.
It's you know those like porn ads where it's like warning you will come. They're actually talking about tea. It actually just takes you to an informed consent clinic.
It was really funny. Like, it was really funny seeing like there was like the people that were getting legit mad, and then there were just the people that were just like, oh no, it'd be awful if there were all these cis women with deep voices and fat clits. That'd be awful.
Oh, the last thing. Oh. It was like. I will say it was genuinely unreal reading some of the things. They're like, well, no, there are some things that are irreversible, and then like the things they would list as irreversible are like, somebody put it like really well, where it's like, if somebody is like, oh, I don't want to go on T because I don't want my voice to deepen or for me to get fat meat, they don't want to go on T. Like they're not considering it. Like what?
I don't want to do the thing that it does.
Yeah.
Irreversible ain't nothing but a movie that you don't have to watch.
Oof! Don't do it. Did I ever tell my irreversible story?
Tell us your irreversible story.
I was I was college age, and some people I barely knew brought over a bunch of people to my house.
That's how a lot of irreversible stories start.
What? Legitimately, why do Gaspar Noé fans think that movie is a group watch?
And
what the fuck?
She said something like, "You guys are gonna love this." To me and my boyfriend at the time, whose house it was, in front of people we had never met and were hanging out with for the first time, and then proceeded to play Irreversible, which proceeded to have a never-ending rape scene, I would say.
Yeah.
That is how I would term the length of it, which I actually stopped. I was like, okay, we're not watching that anymore. And then it was like, well, party's over, basically.
I think the funniest thing about that is that, like, I'm someone who watches the worst fucking shit. That movie made me physically ill to watch. And it's not even because of the content. It's just the way it looks. It's just like
there were like 8 of us. There were like 8 of us in a room. Silently. Dead silent.
Okay, pause for Baru's comment. Hey, Sil, the changes from T are irreversible. Oh yeah, so was the shit I took this morning. Thank you, Baru.
Thank you.
Oh my god, there is a picture. Young Polly Walnuts. I might be the only Sopranos viewer in the chat,
voice chat
on stream right now.
Speak on it.
It's really good. He's like on the beach in like 1972. He looks like a sexual Italian strongman with like leather suspenders. It's really, really good.
There are areas in the oldest house where under the right
I legitimately, okay.
When the frequencies
I am
match,
also like
other dimensions leak in.
I have to eat
thresholds.
Poison. I have to.
The quarry is
I love
one of the more stable
movies that are
thresholds in
evil.
the
I
maintenance
really,
sector.
really do.
That's where black
Irreversible
rock comes from.
is like
extra dimensional matter.
I was just
It
bored.
has the unique property of
Okay.
blocking out a lot of
It's
frequencies.
boring and awful.
I know if you
Keeps
are a
it stable,
Gaspar Noé
contained.
fan in the chat,
It has
don't take this personally because this
paranatural
isn't
way.
about you
Our
because you
research
were watching my
involves
stream,
many
so you're
dangerous
chill.
things we
But
absolutely
people
That's
who
why
like
Noé
people when people tell me that they like
That's what the
Gaspar
Black
Noé
Rock
films,
line firebreaks
I
are about.
immediately know right away that they're gonna talk to me about oh, this is cute.
Emily.
They immediately tell me about how much they like fucked up movies, and I know to completely
Neighbor
disregard their opinion
Get it?
about fucked up movies. Gaspar
fucked up
Noé
movies.
is a like normie's idea of a fucked up movie.
I kind of have a soft spot. I don't know. I do want to see Climax. Not really expecting to love it or anything, but like, I did have a lot of fun with Enter the Void but like I don't know how much of that was the movie because the way that I saw it was like
That's where Black Rock
I was
comes
like
from.
a
You
sophomore
heard
in
that too.
college, and I went with my like very sweet and respectful like
This
like
should get us into the quarry.
dude friend who was like in his like 30s, and he was so mortified, and we were just like screaming together the entire time because of how awkward it was in a way that it just wrapped around to being incredibly funny.
Yeah.
And that was a really treasured memory. Like just like a really sweet, respectful, like herbivore man who like teaches children in the city. Taking you to see Enter the Void and being like, oh my god, oh no, I'm so sorry, oh god, oh no.
Everything here is crazy.
Here's the thing. Like I'm someone who has had date nights where I've watched
Right.
Come and
Like
See,
how the world
where I've
should be.
watched The Reflecting Skin,
Building leading to
Handmaiden,
dimensions, and I
Lighthouse.
believe,
These are date
even
movies.
With all the horror.
Oh yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Happy.
So that's
Handmaiden is a great date movie. Sorry.
what is?
Yeah, no. The Handmaiden?
Oh yeah, no, Handmaiden's great.
That is a great movie if you want
That
to fuck.
seals the deal. Yeah, The Lighthouse is also a date movie for sure.
And the lighthouse is fun. I had a great time with that movie.
The Lighthouse is fun and it's horny.
It's so good. It was great because the person we went on a date with when we walked out after, we were talking about whether or not it counts as like a horror film, and they're like, yeah, I don't know if I'd really call it a horror film. And then like an hour later, we're at a bar and they had a drink, and they immediately were like, oh my god, I just noticed that this is the first time my shoulders have unclenched for the past 3 hours, because they were so stressed out watching The Lighthouse.
It is a tense movie.
Yeah.
But it is like it's a tense movie in a yaoi way.
It's
Oh.
a modern American BL movie.
And it's a modern America BL movie.
And now it's getting a manga adaptation.
Manga
Does anybody care if I talk about spoilers for The Lighthouse? Anybody in the
For the
chat?
Lighthouse?
Uh,
What could you even spoil about it?
Oh, well, just that thing. So like, you know how Robert Pattinson, the documentary of him. This is a documentary about Robert Pattinson's life.
Yes.
About how his character like basically let a man die on the job, but like you see his memories of the guy that he like basically killed, and like it's from a completely different like time era of then like his like clothing and everything is like literally like some like 50s workman shit.
Yeah.
And then you realize like what actual time is this happening, and is Willem Dafoe just an insane man?
Yes.
It's just talking like that.
Who is just acting like it is the 1800s.
Yeah.
By the way, now that we have 5, we can unlock the best seat in this game. Somebody put in the chat that people can unmute or come back.
Yeah. That scene was hot. I don't know about you. I think like okay. I keep thinking about how much I wish I had the power to like choose like any movie that I want. Like I can just add a scene of the protagonist jerking off.
Yes.
I've been thinking about this because we've been watching a lot of Studio Ghibli movies, and I think that all of those movies should just have the protagonist should just have like Prince Ashitaka just cranking it, like just letting one go real quick.
I think that's a great philosophy to have.
Yeah, that's what I want. I like. That's kind of like my favorite media to like to engage with is like when something has like an entire story and like all of its priorities, but like people who say sex scenes are unnecessary are fucking bitches. Like, I'm definitely not crazy about them, and they're often bad, but like I have always really enjoyed when like it's just a part of a character's life that you see.
Hello.
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 We're doing the luck puzzle.
Oh, luck puzzle. Oh, suit time.
Oh, I might actually have to go.
I can't see this luck puzzle.
Yeah, I can't see this.
Okay, I have to-
No, I'm just.
A luck puzzle. No thanks.
Flinching.
None for
Yeah.
me.
Wait, maybe I'll stay because there's a flinch.
Flinch into chat.
Switch into chat. What will he post? Yeah, okay. Just watch Porco Rosso for the first time. My god. He's so fucking hot.
I just rewatched Princess Mononoke,
Hell yeah.
and I realized that maybe I don't like Miyazaki films. Maybe I just like Princess Mononoke.
You know, that's kind of fair.
I feel like I watched Princess Mononoke as a kid, and then like every Miyazaki film after that was me chasing the dragon of like having watched Princess Mononoke.
I think if you want to chase that dragon, you
can
will
just watch it again.
Yeah, you can watch that again. You could also watch like Nausicaa. You might have to. I think you should go.
I watched Nausicaa. It was okay.
I think
I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna be the one guy that wasn't impressed by
Wow.
Nausicaa.
Seriously? I think Nausicaa's really good.
That's fine.
I was like,
I don't think it isn't.
yeah.
I'm not
I
sure
was
why
like-
it didn't connect with me as much though. I think maybe
Yeah.
it was like too detached from the normal world for me to relate to it, I think. Whereas I feel like
Got it.
Mononoke was like modern enough that like I could relate to it. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like
I mean,
Nausicaa was too in another world, sort of thing.
I think Mononoke kind of has like a lot of the subjects that it's talking about. It's got a kind of like more nuanced and complicated idea of how to engage with it. It's like very similar to Nausicaa, but like Princess Mononoke kind of like
Sits with it a little longer.
yeah, it sits with it more. It introduces a lot more like lateral complexity about like how do you coexist with nature, you know, without destroying it? Like it's got these. It's got a little bit more like this one's got a bit more nuance and complexity. I just think that like I find Nausicaa like really beautiful.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is.
And, like-
I'm not saying it isn't. Sorry, I wasn't dismissing it as not a good movie. It didn't hit the same way as Mononoke, and that's where the reason I was responding to you saying is the potential like analog for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Oh,
Okay.
we're a little low compared to game QQs.
Compared to game.
Yeah, I mean, rewatching Mononoke was amazing, honestly, as an adult again. But just like, I don't know, like I feel like I appreciated it so much just on this watch, and I really like it. Oh wait, Flinch, did you watch it here? Yes, you watched it here while we had Shabu Shabu? Yeah, that's right. You watched it at my house. But yeah, I just really appreciated it. It's really interesting how the movie, and I feel like I didn't really register this that much when I was young, but the movie's kind of about like a lot of different people having different goals and how that like doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah, that movie is a fucking I think Princess Mononoke might be his best movie if you ask
I
me.
mean, it's probably my favorite.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite. Let
Like,
me say
I had-
instead of best, I'll say my favorite as well.
Yeah, that's see, I play the safe route that way. But yeah, it's like I didn't even remember the stuff about the Emperor and like the Emperor wanting things and how that all played into things. Like there's so many different things going on, like B plots, you know, kind of all going on at the same time, that I feel like I really focused on like Ashitaka's journey, like, and you know, say Sen like that, you know. I did kind of focus on that when I watched it back in the day, but like I definitely noticed everything else this time around, and I was kind of really impressed
Great.
by how rich the like B plots all were, because you could pick up on a lot about them, like, and about like not everyone's doing things because they want to, and not everyone's doing things because they, you know, a lot of the characters are doing things because it's their only option, and it's just interesting.
Yeah, I think that is what's so cool about that. You know, there's just like so many different.
Check this out.
Like, there's so many different factions kind of like vying for different stuff. We got it! Yay!
Lesbian unlocked.
We have.
You say lesbian
fully
unlocked?
Yeah.
That's accurate.
God, it's so fucking good.
Yeah, it's good.
It's really good. The bravery to pull off a mustard suit.
Yeah.
It's luck. It's her lucky suit.
Fucking beautiful. The suit that you get for beating Nega Jesse Faden is like also really good, but it was just not. We just couldn't take off the yellow suit.
I'm always. I think I do this one and I do the janitor suit. You get a lot.
Oh, the janitor suit is good.
I need to see that.
Weird janitor had
I'm sure if the janitor had a handbook.
Oh, we can go in
Very
here.
question. Oh, this place is great. I love this place.
Oh, this was my office
It
once.
was funny.
It's such a good joke because you have to get all the way. You have to get up to level 4, like key cards to get in, and then you get into the room, and it's just covered in post-it notes, and it's just someone being like, "Hey, somebody put a duplicating post-it note in here. Fuck you guys. I'm doing work from home."
Going home. That's great.
That's really cute.
That's fucking good. I love that so much.
And I think that's basically it. There's just that, and then there's an item box in here. It's just a little joke room that they rendered.
It's just a really fucking funny.
Oh shit!
That's really cute.
I don't need an
Yes.
acoustic guitar.
$50
Spinning
bucks.
out of
That's a
control.
bargain.
Yes.
I wonder if there's any rooms in executive I can go into now. I think there's this one. Yeah, I haven't been in here yet.
Tony, have you seen Spirited Away? Did you ever?
I did, and I like it, but I think I like Spirited Away less as a story and more like a variety show.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
like it's like a circus.
Yeah.
Actually, I think like I was gonna say this, that like when I brought up Nausicaa, it was because like I feel like earlier Miyazaki movies are more tightly plotted than later ones,
Yeah,
which
that's
get kind of like, until you get to stuff like Ponyo, where it's just really meandering, and unwieldy, and sometimes it's really beautiful. Like I like Ponyo, and I like Spirited Away, but I feel like I actually had like a similar reaction where I was like, oh, Spirited Away is so pretty and so beautiful, but it also like it kind of like gets lost. It really does get lost in itself.
Well, I like
And some of the things that pull it together. are like, it doesn't like, it doesn't have that same sort of like format. Like, it's a really fundamentally different kind of thing. I wouldn't even say that I think that that's worse or like not a good goal to have for a movie, but I definitely like feel that it's doing a really different thing that can like kind of like be a little bit more alienating than something like Spirited Away or Nausicaa, where it's like very like tight, like the journey of it is very tight.
Nausicaa is very traditional.
Water. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Nausicaa is
sorry,
very
what were you saying?
Oh, yeah, so I fucking learned that I need to watch the actual documentary, but someone was telling me about it. But fucking Miyazaki, like, he just like flies by the seat of his pants. He just like, the start of the like Ghibli process is he boards some fucking scenes and he hands them off and he's like still figuring out what it's about. Like, he does not at a time. And like, the idea that any of his movies are good, knowing that, is a fucking miracle. Like, and it also makes me understand so many of the problems with his like later ones, cause like, I really liked Howl's Moving Castle, but I only liked it because Howl was insanely sexy and I was in high school. But like, that was around the time that people started to be like, damn, this movie fucking sucks. And then like, but like, I consider Howl's Moving Castle to be like the beginning of like, to be like the second step after Spirited Away in terms of like the Ghibli movie finger familyification. Like, it is all like realizing that this is all like insane shit.
What?
Yeah, Finger Family?
Just like Spider-Man Elsa procedurally generated, like.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean by that.
It's like, is that the person who made it, or the algorithm?
Yeah, no, like just like. I don't know. Like,
that totally does make a lot of sense, and it makes a lot more sense thinking about those movies. I was like, oh yeah, Spirited Away really does feel like he had no idea what the ending was going to be by the time the ending happened. Because like, there's some bits in the ending where I'm like, oh, I guess that's what resolves everything. Okay, sure, why not? It is a little bit like he writes it almost like a manga that's like serialized. At least Spirited Away has that feeling. I wonder if there were more modulating like people on him for like things like from Mononoke. Certainly like Nausicaa had the benefit of him like already writing the manga first and trying to fit that into like a pretty short movie too.
I think
like
that
he didn't have
the way that Mononoke is like equally complex and dense, but also like kind of easy to follow, does make me feel like it might have been reined in somehow. And it would make sense given the time, right? Because I mean, like Disney was involved with the dubbing and all that, right? Like it could have been some sort of studio situation where they had tighter reins on the project.
Yeah, I basically believe that like no artist should like ever like I feel like you need constraints, and like I feel like the especially like it's really bad in film, especially like you just need like there's a certain point where you need people like editing your shit and telling you no matter how famous.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, I say this in game design a lot, is that like if you don't have a producer telling you no, you're not gonna make a game. Or it's not.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So crucial.
It's the most important thing.
I would not. I never got told no. I would never make it.
Yeah, it's very true.
I am the mom, and
are you the no sayer?
And I'm a pretty big no sayer.
Yeah.
I guess like, I mean, I'm also like a big kind of like planner too, where it's like. I hate, like, I guess this is kind of like how my creative process works, because I never ever wanted to write a novel, and I never wanted to like do like I never got good at like writing anything like long form, and never really tried, especially as like a young artist. So the only way that I know how to do it is to like just tightly plan everything out so that it turns into a bunch of little things that I do know how to write. In other words, I have like no idea like what the space that I'm coloring in is. And I like want to come up with those constraints because that's kind of like how I like manage like almost everything in my life, not just like game design or writing. So I tend to do that, and then just because we had like you know, like just because we were like working as like small indies, I was like, well, what is the lowest budget way that we can pull this off? So I kind of like got used to thinking about that way.
Yeah, and it's good. Thank you. Good at it.
Yeah, but it means that I definitely come with saying no brain.
That's good.
Where I'm like, we should create this box and then fit things into it. And people are like, oh, let's see, we'll figure that out as we go. I'm like, I'm gonna start screaming right now. I'm gonna make up, and if nobody makes up boxes, I'm gonna start doing that myself. Just so that I can kind of like get a handle on it. I don't know, I also feel like as a writer, I feel like writing, I have like a very pessimistic opinion of writing, especially in games.
Well, it's bad, except for you.
Thank you. Well, writing really has to like its place, and I feel like a lot of writing in games doesn't do enough to like earn the importance of including it. So like I think about that a lot, and like how is this writing like really earning its place in the story, and because like writing can do a lot of damage. We were just talking about like Dark Cloud 2 and JRPGs that like go on forever, and kind of like, I mean, like sometimes that's the point and sometimes that's useful. I feel like there's ways in which you use writing as like a blunt cudgel just by having a lot of it, but that's not the sort of writer I want to be, and that's not the sort of game I want to make, you know. So I really try and think about like how to not get in my own way, or the way of like the rest of this like complete artistic project I'm working on. Anyways, that's my creative process.
It's good. It's good because it makes things that are good, and most importantly, it makes things that are finished.
That's my 100% goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, without no's and without deadlines, nothing will ever happen.
Literally nothing happens. Yeah. That's why I think.
I love games writing is written mostly by people who read Marvel movies. Like they just read the novelizations of Marvel movies.
Oh my god, it really is like, the thing is like a lot of games writers, it's gonna start getting real shady, but I think that like Prestige TV, people are like, I have watched a currently airing Prestige TV show.
Yeah, I could do Deadwood.
Like, yeah, even if it, like, right, like that's the thing, like, it's like, the reality is slightly better, and that is depressing, because you're like, say like, games writers have only read Marvel movies is like the meanest thing that you can say. The reality is literally one step above the meanest thing you could say.
They've watched Smallville or something.
Is that they watched like, I mean, they probably watched they've watched Westworld, you know, they've definitely seen Game of Thrones. You can fucking believe it.
Sidebar. So remember what I said about the NSC And I was like, hey, I wonder what that stands for. It's like the big thing that powers all the energy. So it stands for blank sarcophagus container. It is divided by Deputy Chief Trench shortly before he became director. It's a safe method of extraction of blank excess energy output while acting as a humane way to house him. So, you know, it's like, okay, so it's a big thing that, that's interesting. So it's like it powers it all off by using turbines and getting excess energy from someone.
Yeah.
I wonder what this person-shaped thing in here is.
Oh shit! I never even noticed these like heat scan things.
So do you know what the N stands for?
Oh yeah, isn't it her?
Northmore. It's right there. The
Wait,
the director before Trench.
Oh God.
Oh shit.
And if you remember, one of the first messages you get from Trench is him saying, "Well, it's the director's duty to keep the lights on."
Whoa.
So this big power plant that we've been coming to a few times, literally just a giant sarcophagus holding the previous director before Trench, because something happened to him that turned him into essentially a giant, monstrous power device. And he is just kept chained alive inside. Yeah, he described him as like a dynamo.
IMCC lung, or however that's said. Yeah, that's like a generous and also correct take. It's that like, yeah, a lot of games writing, especially like AAA games writing, like it comes really late in the process. And another thing that I'll say in fairness to writers, because sometimes you do actually see like people who are like, who you know are like good writers attached to like a video games project, and you're like, well, that kind of wasn't up to their normal standards or whatever. Like it's okay, but it's still a video game. As a games writer, you can only kind of like match what you are being given, right? So like if they're working on a third-person action shooter that's going to be a next-gen, 2 years into a console's life cycle, AAA title, then you could hire, whatever literary figure you'd like to name drop. And they'll probably have to write something that sounds pretty similar, tropey and similar to, like, what they have to work with, because like what else do you really have to work with at that point? There's only kind of like so much you can really interject.
Another thing with AAA games especially is that a lot of the times the writers and narrative designers will do the thing and it works a certain way, and then later on it gets changed and they just have to figure out some way to make it work.
Right, exactly.
With limited time, and there's just not much options. And I've talked to a lot of writers for various AAA games who have essentially said exactly that happened in some part where it's like, oh well, this came out stupid, but it was actually supposed to be like this. But then they decided that they wanted a different type of gameplay in that, and so it had to be changed. It didn't make any sense.
And so then you can be changing like lore and all sorts of other stuff, and then like the
character motivations can change entirely.
Character motivations suddenly change entirely because XYZ thing needs to happen, and then it's like, well then fuck, what do I do to continue to make this interesting? I mean, like, another thing too though is that like AAA game developers are still writing shit in Excel. Like the lack of like actual like tools for writers to like get in and do things and actually like manipulate what the game is so far behind like what a like gameplay designer is able to do, like the equivalently. And it's kind of like people just think of like if the writer's job is basically to produce localizable text for a video game, then you are really, really constrained in what you're able to actually do, because you don't actually really have access to design tools or even like the authority within the whole like system of the hundreds, you know, or the anywhere from like a dozen to hundreds of people making the game to actually have effective changes made. You know. Anyways.
And that's why AV is a Sam Barlow apologist. Thank you for
Yep, because they're like clearly involved and they're like prioritizing what they're doing. Like, you know, this
What's
speaks
Sam
to
Barlow?
them like well, that's the ready for this, right?
Sam Barlow? No. Sam Barlow's the
Her story.
I'm yeah, her story. I'm a
Oh.
Sam Barlow apologist because they're also the guy who did Shattered
Serious
Memories and Origins. So like
Oh.
they're one of those guys that gets a lot of hate.
Yeah, I'm sure they're
for
fine.
their writing.
I mean, like anyone who's being an narrative designer, like this is why it's like hard for like, you know, you almost have to be a person who's being like, okay, we are frame one considering this a narrative design project, and either I happen to be the writer and designer at the same time, or I'm just the director and I happen to also be a good writer, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen other ways too, but that's kind of like why like big projects that are like highly narrative driven also need to have like, you know, they have multiple, right? Like any like RPG has like many writers, and they're all like coordinated under this like pretty big umbrella, where people are directing like the tone and feeling of the game, and making like large high level decisions. And if they're any good and they are making a game that is finishable, they'll usually like demarcate those like boxes almost the same way like a TV show is written, right? Like
Right.
in a TV show, you're like the fad where everyone was getting into Columbo is really fun to me, but that's a really good show, and it's one of the easiest to write shows probably ever made. Like they had like one of the most like, because they have like a really like for genius reason.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Columbo is easy to write is like because they so cohesively designed the whole show around this one character and this one character's actor, and having a like a rich snob monster of the week that shows up to get totally owned by Columbo. It's got like this pitch perfect formula to it. So like the reason why people were able to riff Columbo jokes on Twitter constantly is for the same reason that Columbo is a very easy to write for TV show. Like that formula is like you can just riff off of it for days, and it's like really easy to parody because that formula is so like well developed.
I feel like that's like really true with stuff like television as well. Is that like usually the like a good character in television is usually one that you can like shit post about well, because it's not that like they're that simple, but that it's like they're that character driven. That like you can develop archetypes or like ways they would respond or like go-to ways to like make jokes about them. The current Twitter show that everyone's riffing on is Gordon Ramsay. And Gumby is the other one I see a lot of people making jokes about.
Oh my god. The Gordon Ramsay ones are really
the bit of like, of course there's a Bigfoot in the cafe.
Oh god, I forgot how good the title cards are. Somebody here played Dark Souls, but they were like, what if we were Dark Souls but we had a really different graphic design sensibility that was really TV oriented? They really like turned it around. Anyways,
hey, I might play it if they do that.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. Like the riffing with Gordon Ramsay, whoever whoever the character that Twitter picks to riff on is usually somebody where it's really easy to do, and that shows that the character is really strong.
Yeah.
And like consistently well developed, even if they're a real person like Gordon Ramsay. I mean,
Gordon Ramsay is a character on his own show. Like if you've ever watched like the British ones, like he's such a different person that it's very clear that he is playing a character on his own show.
Yeah, absolutely, and everyone will play a character for the camera. But yeah, of course, like that sort of like yeah, that sort of thing is really important.
Because I feel like
for writing something like a video game, because you might not have any idea what the other levels of the video game are when you start developing it. Even if you're like it's not even, it's for the same reason that like, you know, serial fiction like TV or manga and comics and the like all has to like have that kind of like, how do I continue riffing on these characters and this premise and keep it going? But even if for a video game that you release as one full product, because there are so many different moving parts to it, you actually have to approach it almost the same way. Because you're like, I don't know what part is being finished. I might have to hand off part of this game to a completely different person for them to write it, you know?
Yeah.
So like, the only way that you can approach a task like that is to kind of like break it down into chunks that are somewhat like fungible, that you can kind of like reorder, and it'll still make some sort of sense. Because then if it's like, oh, we like totally had to like change what area is the first area in the game, then the writer isn't like, well, now I have to throw everything out. You still have like a lot of stuff that is only depends on like character dynamics that you can be sure won't change because they're part of the plot that you're making up. You can kind of like make it so that you can at least preserve some things from getting totally destroyed just by like major changes to the rest of the game.
Yeah. I feel like that's like a thing too of it, is that it's like, you know, a lot of characters in game, like, let's use for an example, I love the Silent Hill games. Like, Heather Mason very obviously belies herself to more shitpost stuff because she's an actual character, whereas most jokes about like James Sunderland and Harry Mason are about like the contexts of the character. They're more about like the narrative.
Right, exactly. Because you don't really know too much about them. Like, if there's a James Sunderland joke, it's like, hey, have you seen a little girl?
Yeah.
Right? Or him like reacting in this kind of blasé way to what's happening.
I'm trying to find my wife, whom I love. Like, you know, it's the jokes that are lent to these characters are based on like the sort of narrative that you know them from, less so the actual like ways in which the characters are written. And that's not even to knock like Silent Hill 2 or Silent Hill 1's writing, because I think they work pretty well. It's just that like they are considerably less well-written characters, and like that's how you could tell the difference between like a well-written character and like a poorly written character within, I would say, specifically like games and TV medium. Obviously, if movies, you know, you could have an extremely well-written character that's hard to riff on.
Right, because they could just be kind of like, well, it can be complicated in their own ways.
Yeah.
And like, and what you're saying about like James Sutherland is like that fulfills the same purpose basically. Like, he's definitely like a less complicated and less interesting character, but they also are solving the same problem.
Yeah.
That the team has, where it's like, well, we need this character to keep on doing things and moving forward and having a plot happen around him. How do we do that? Well, he's looking for his daughter, you know. So like wife. Harry Mason is looking for his daughter. James Sutherland is looking for his wife. Like, we know that about James Sutherland, so that we can keep watching the narrative go forward, and it makes sense that it's happening because he's got a really simple motivation. This is like things that any Hollywood writer would be like, yeah, of course, and your real simple motivation that the viewer can relate to. And it's why sometimes you get games and movies that never aspire to anything more than this. But it like in the case of like Silent Hill, it's like, well, he is a vehicle for telling all of these other stories and for exploring this like world, and presenting you with these like images. So he doesn't have to be complicated to get you into a complicated world.
Yeah. It also definitely ends up being almost the way in which he is characterized, because the fact that he is so non-personable is definitely like part of the reveal, and also part of the way in which like they want to invite you, the audience, to identify with him, so that the ending of the game feels more like a betrayal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's like specifically in the case of James Sutherland. It's like, this guy had like, he's got a pure and relatable reason for for doing all of this stuff, and then it's like, oh wait, actually the whole thing was because he's about to he actually really sucks a lot. And it does a good job of kind of like using that as like, yeah, that's like the whole point of the game almost.
Yeah. I love to think about writing, and personally, I love to think about writing. Oh no.
Me too. I've done quite a lot of it.
Hold on, I have to find orb. I have to find this orb fucker, who's currently ruining my life. Oh fuck. No. Oh, you son of a bitch. I hate these orbs so much.
I might have to have that be my sign-off comment though, because it's getting kind of late. And I was gonna leave, and then like Mia came in, and then our conversation was so good, and I was like, I had completely lost track of time until just now. So I will have to go.
Yeah, no problem.
I had a great time, as always. And I hope all you viewers did too.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining as always. I don't know if I'm gonna jump off yet. I'm gonna probably wait until I hit a good point that's like, here we are, and now I can stop.
Yeah, this is like, I remember there being some trickiness to this section, but I hope you get through it okay. Alright, good night everyone.
Good night. I think I will peace.
I was gonna say,
good night, Jay. Good night, chat.
Good night.
Bye bye. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye. Watch that. Looks like it's just you and me. Oh wait. Oh, I activated the explosives. What's this quarry incident? Oh, there's a city in the distance. Fuck. Okay, I gotta see if we can climb up and see if we can look out into the weird. So this is chat. If you haven't been paying attention to the notes, this is like a weird injection of like an alternate, like the threshold dimension, which they use to harvest black rock, which is used in like a lot of their production of things because it's related to the threshold. But it's basically like, the fucked up universe. Anyway, we had to get some more black rock.
And there it is, right where you led me. The HRAs, the prisms, they mean something to you. I need to get this prism to Marshall before it's too late. HRAs, then Dylan.
Now there's also a bunch of the fucked up little critter guys. I guess in theory we could fly around and look for stuff. I thought I had the ability to fly by this point, but maybe not. Maybe there's a side quest I'm missing. I've been watching the stream and I have no fucking clue what's going on compared to Quantum Break. So basically this is like the SCP thing. And we are looking for our brother. And they are these things called the HRAs, which is the Hadron Resonance Amplifiers. And those are what seem to make people invulnerable to the hiss. However, not everyone had them, and we're hoping that if we make a bigger one, it'll create a bigger safe zone to help defeat the hiss. They were fueled by the black rocks, which we just now harvested, so now we are going to bring them back in order to start working on making a larger Hadron. Hadron is something that Darling keeps referring to. A thing that we have learned is that Darling and Trench were both getting paranoid and seemed to somewhat know that something was going to happen soon, and had prepared for it in different ways, with Darling getting everything set up for this, and Trench just kind of becoming insane and paranoid. Oops, fell to my death. Oh, okay. Oh! It's okay, that would make sense if you come back to here later. But basically, this is a part of the house that ruptures into the threshold, which is what all the weird, like, other universe stuff that is intruding into our world that's connected to the board, which is the upside-down pyramid that talks to us. Guess where does the game want me to go? Executive suite. Oh, well, let's go there. And then actually, this might actually be a great spot to save myself. Honestly, it makes sense because you get, like, I could go down to, I noticed earlier that I could go down to the Panopticon where a lot of the objects are kept, and I was like, oh, I can definitely, like, progress to some extent here. I just, you know, was like, I might as well do it in order. It might be hard.
It's ridiculous.
You're
Hope's
ridiculous.
grasping at straws.
Had to take a detour into the quarry, but I found plenty. Here.
We will start HRA production
Puts
immediately.
it in my back pocket. Just all right. Yeah.
I promised I'd tell you about Dylan once you helped us.
This is it. She knows.
The truth is, oh.
17 years. I've waited.
Truth is, I don't know anything about
Your
Dylan.
brother is here. He was once known as Prime Candidate 6, codenamed P6. We brought him here after the ordinary event. He was groomed to be the future director. He had talents far beyond any other candidate in the program.
Of course he did. We found you together. We share a bond. Are you with him now? So you kidnapped him.
We took him in. Your parents vanished along with every other adult in Ordinary. Eventually, his power changed him. There were casualties. He wasn't fit to be the director.
Did you know about this? Is this why you didn't bring me here sooner? Were you keeping me away? Where is Dylan?
He's kept in the containment sector, in the Panopticon.
My brother. I thought we were the same. What if we are? I'm going. Now.
I expected as much. I need to go check on something. Something I cannot let the hiss find.
Jesse talks to
shouldn't take
blank like
long,
I
but
talk my own brain.
you
Damn.
must
Yeah,
watch
it's
the
just an
Bureau
intrusive
run and
thought.
go. And remember, Dylan is dangerous. Do not let him out, Director Faden.
How do I make her stop calling me that?
Just want to let him out
I'm
a
not
little
here
bit.
for them. Nothing simple here.
So
These
basically, we
people
just found
took
out that
my
our brother was
brother, but
taken because he had
they've
showed
accepted me
promise and
without
power to
question.
become the next director.
Are they
Power
my
corrupts.
enemies or
Abuse of
my
power comes as
friends?
no surprise. Yada yada yada. And so we're gonna
And
go
what is
find
it,
him.
Dylan?
And that is what we will
I need to
do
know.
next stream.
I wish you could tell me what you know, explain things.
So thank you again for joining, everybody.
Stay with me, okay?
That's actually gonna be a really fun area because that's where you see a bunch of the weird
use a
like
friend right now.
objects of power that are just contained, and you can find a secret object of power. Ooh. You can find a secret object of power that's an Alan Wake reference. So that is what we'll do. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and check out this hotline message. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you all for joining. Oh, I forgot to point this out earlier when we watched it. Hold on, let me find it. So there's that where they're explaining that. I really like this message that you can just randomly get from them. Neighbor of the Beast. We are failing at translating hyperreal concepts. Secret instructions will be lost. Ignorance. Just like, I'm trying to explain it, being like, I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't really translate.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, thank you all for coming.
If hiss is a frequency,
Have a good night.